going on, people? It's comedian Josh James here, just letting you all know that you have got to be subscribing to a new YouTube channel called Claret and Booze, because these lads, they are proper East End, they're proper West End, proper Claret and Blue. Come on, you Irons!
Way, cheers, Josh. Evening all. We're live once again. Thanks for joining us for a Claret and Booze Up Friday night show. Bloody fireworks are driving us all mad, so that's probably all you're going to hear throughout this stream. It's like living in Beirut. If you're new to Claret and Booze, we are streaming live. So if you've got any questions, make sure you post your comments. Get in the live chat. It's an interactive show. And don't forget, if you do like what we do, just leave us a comment, give us a thumbs up, and subscribe to our channel because it really helps us. This week we will hopefully be joined by Stelios, who is running a bit late. Stelios from the West Ham network, not out of character for Stelios. So when he does join, we'll throw him in and do the intro then. Yeah. But yeah, Gal, how are you? Are you getting the same problem as me? I think everyone's got it, haven't they? With the
well, yeah, I'm sort of secured in my bunker here in Romford, and it is literally like a war zone outside. And I tried to look, bloody hell, do you hear that? They're coming from all directions. Garden over there, garden over there. They're all over the place. Anyway, the dog's shuddering indoors, and the cat's under the table, and yeah. Other than that, everything's fine.
How about you, John?
Yeah, I'm all good, mate. I'm all good. It's been a good week. London's getting back to normal.
Yep.
All us London cabbies are earning money for once. And yeah, I feel a bit like David Moyes must have felt like on Twitter last night in the first half. I'm being attacked from all angles with these fireworks. What is he doing?
What are the animals doing at the moment? You said is Barney or not Barney?
The Blue's shivering. He's a very nervous boxer dog, and he's only 3 or 4, and he's still a pup basically. Yeah. He always will be, and any noise just terrifies him. So he's shivering in the front room. The cat is hiding under the table in the kitchen. Bruce is laying there, just not bothered. Is what it is. But yeah, it's terrible for dogs and stuff. But people like it, so what the hell?
Yeah, no, I know. I've got bloody Mozart playing in the kitchen, because where we got Henry from, the breeder used to play classical music for the pups to set them down of an evening. And she said it's a good recovery thing for anything like that if you want to settle their nerves. And he's absolutely fine. Touch wood. I mean, the only thing that we have got is the cat's done. She did a runner earlier on and she ain't come back in. So we'll have to go searching for her at some point.
Couldn't she have just played some Oasis or something? Why'd you have to play Mozart?
I know.
He's lying. He's moved. Yeah. He's become highbrow now. He's left my
That's what it is. That's what it is. Yeah.
He's blaming someone else.
But anyway, just in terms of the agenda, we're gonna run through the review of Genk, our result against Genk on Thursday. And then we're going to be doing a Hammer's New section. John's going to mock the week, and then we're going to look ahead to the big clash at the weekend against Liverpool. So to kick off, let's go straight into the Genk review. It's a bit of a strange game, wasn't it? I mean, what were your thoughts on the starting lineup?
Well, my thoughts. I thought it was a strange selection, a different selection. I kind of when I heard that Vlasic and Yarmolenko got injured just before kickoff, I thought that's what must have driven this selection, because Moyes wanted to play a minimum number of first-team players with Liverpool at the weekend and everything else. That much was clear. So I think he tried to keep it to 3 or 4, and then he tried to kind of play 5 at the back to accommodate a few players that probably weren't in his plans. And so it was a bit of a surprise, but on paper, I thought it looked well strong enough to do a job at Genk.
Oh, it did. I thought it was too strong. What about yourself, John? What were your? I think you was a bit surprised as well, weren't you, with the players that we was playing?
Yeah, I was surprised with some of the positions they were playing. I think Masuaku playing, on the left at the front three was quite a strange selection. But I just, if there's a time he's going to play squad players and sort of try different things, he's going to be in these games, isn't it? I mean, I know we hadn't technically qualified last night before the game, but pretty much we had, if you know what I mean, all barring a couple of points. So yeah, I mean, I wasn't, I went to the pub to watch it where I live, and I wasn't expecting it to be how it went. You know what I mean? Both the starting lineup, and I mean, Genk played quite well. To be fair, you got to give them credit.
Yeah, they did. I mean, well, like I say, we did field a strong team, and like Gary said, we changed shape to a back three, a wing back system, which basically, as it materialised, it emptied our midfield, didn't it? And for the first 30 minutes, we got blitzed. I think we started getting back into it sort of 10 minutes before the end of the first half.
Well, like Rice said in his post-match interview, and Moyes said the same thing. He said they started off with a back three with Arthur and Johnson playing as Soufal playing as wingers. Yeah. And with a middle three of Cresswell, Diop, and what's his name? Dawson. And that kind of explains how disjointed they were, because in front of them was just a void. It was Rice and Noble chasing shadows, wasn't it? That's all it was.
It was.
And apparently after 20 minutes, according to Rice and Moyes, that is when Moyes decided this ain't working.
Yeah.
And he changed it.
No, that's it. He did. He reverted to a familiar shape, didn't he? And they all seemed to settle into it. But I mean, I think the changes that he made on 60 minutes were also bang on. Even though we did start the second half well, I think there were some changes that had to be made. And we did. We pushed on. We created an abundance of chances, didn't we? We played some excellent football in that second half. And the standout player, obviously, I mean, he was the man of the match. Was Benrahma. So I mean, my question to you lot after last weekend was, why was he so good yesterday when he can be so bad at other times? Was it because we had Lanzini in the team and he flourishes playing alongside similar flair players? Was it because he gets more space against the likes of Genk than he would do against Premier League opposition? Or is he just a bit of an inconsistent player that, as Deck said in his post-match presser, needs a cuddle and to be constantly told how good he is? Or was it purely because I wrote him off last weekend and he felt he had to prove a point? What do you think it was?
That's definitely it was definitely you.
Yeah. He watched the stream last week. He had the right ump. He had the right ump with you. Benrahma's the latest player you've written off. You've written off Souček, Johnson, and Benrahma this year so far. You're doing well because every time you write him off,
it's working well though. Who do I need to pick on next?
It's working really well. It's a good motivator. But my own take on that, right, is I think Antonio had a bit of a mare yesterday. I didn't think he played well at all, and I was quite relieved when he came off at 60 minutes and they put Bowen on, and then almost immediately it was like Benrahma was let off the leash. It was like Antonio had got out of his way, and he was no longer looking for Antonio. He was just driving forward himself. It's like they'd told him, Jamie. It's like they'd told him to drive forward, and that's exactly what he did. Hi, Steve. So I think there's a bit of both when you describe it. I think he was given a bit more freedom as soon as Antonio went off. I think the other players like Bowen and Lanzini and people like that are more on the same wavelength as him.
Yeah.
So I think there's a bit of truth in that, to be honest.
Yeah, no. I agree. Well, I think if you go back to probably one of our best performances last year, but certainly one of his, it was that Crystal Palace game, wasn't it? Do you remember when we had Lingard? Was Lanzini in that team as well, or was that just Lingard and Benrahma? Was that a Lingard Benrahma masterclass? I think it was, wasn't it?
There was no
no, but I don't think. I think he's clearly a talented player, but I don't think he's a pie. I don't think it's one of those situations where you can only have him in the team to create. Because especially in the Premier League, because I think he needs to bounce off of other players that are similar to him, doesn't he? But he was tremendous, wasn't he? I mean, not just the goals. He was hungry. He was hunting the ball down. He was making good decisions as well, which I criticised him for at the weekend.
I think we've all got the same criticism of him, and Moyes even mentioned it in his post-match review last night, and that is sometimes his final ball is wrong. Yeah. And that's what they need to work on, because he does a lot of good work, and a lot of times, like during games we've watched recently, he's decided to shoot when he's shooting a shot. He doesn't look for the pass. You saw what happened when we played Villa last week, when he decided you said he didn't have a choice, but when he decided to pass the ball to Rice after going on that amazing run, right?
I could have played that pass, though, Gal.
when he ran out of options.
I mean,
when he ran out of options,
yeah. But no, that's fair.
I just think that Benrahma, I think he is a very emotional character. Declan Rice has alluded to it. Moyes has alluded to it. And with emotional players, you can often get inconsistencies because the littlest of thing can put them off their game. You know what I mean? So I think you're just going to we have to appreciate that because of the way he is emotionally, whatever, needs a bit of a cuddle, that he will be inconsistent. And whether or not he ever becomes consistent is another story. We don't know, do we? But you know, there's no doubt. There's no doubt when he's on his game. He's on his game. He's one of the best there. So
no, that's it. And
last night he was good.
And what about the other player that came back into the team, Soufal? Do you think that he did enough yesterday to reclaim his spot at right back? I know he started at right wing back, but
no, I think he did well. I think he made the first goal. That is the difference between him and Johnson, is that Soufal is very good at getting forward. I don't think Johnson deserves to lose his place just yet, though.
No.
He's done brilliantly since he's been in.
No.
Soufal was given the whole game because of his fitness coming back and that, and he knows he's dropping him for Sunday, and Johnson's back in. I think it's obvious.
I think you're right. Well, I hope you're right anyway, because not because I've got anything against Soufal, but purely because I think it would be the wrong thing to do to drop Johnson at the moment.
No, I think you're right. You're right. It sends out the wrong message. But I think all in all, Nick John, I think it was the right result. I think it was fair, a draw.
It was.
They tonked us in the first half. They could have been 3-0 up in 15 minutes, let's be fair. I mean, some of those chances were really good chances. Having said that, the goal that went in, I thought Areola should have done better with it. You know, utter chaos from us for 20 minutes. But Moyes is allowed to, Moyes is so good. He's allowed to make a mistake every now and then. He made a mistake and he held his hands up, right? He put it right.
No, that's it. Right, we have got Stelios has just joined. So I'm going to throw him on the stream. Where are we? Stel.
Good afternoon. Good evening, gents. Sorry I'm so late.
No problem.
Apologies.
No problem. Was you at a fireworks display by any chance?
No. When you've got the partner insisting that we have to eat first, make sure you do that before you do anything else. Because then you say, no problem, I'm online for the next 2 hours, and she understands.
Good. How are you anyway? You okay?
I'm very well. All good, thank you. Yeah, nice end to the week. Fridays are always good, aren't they? When you've got the weekend to look forward to. And
absolutely,
all good. I hope you chaps are well too.
Yeah, no. I'm all good, thanks, Stel. We've just basically been running through the Genk game. Obviously, we've touched on the first half. What were your thoughts on the way that I know we're back sort of backpedaling a bit, but what were your thoughts on that first 30 minutes and the selection from David Moyes initially? Sorry to go straight into it.
No, that's cool. Well, I didn't know that we had a couple of players injured. I didn't know Yarmolenko and Vlasic were injured. So when I saw the team lineup, I was questioning, well, why are we playing Antonio and why are we playing Benrahma when we've got such an important game to come on Sunday against Liverpool? And then when it was explained, because I hadn't caught up with the latest details, when it was explained that both Yarmolenko and Vlasic were injured and they would have started, I kind of went, okay, fair enough. Cresswell, I think, is one of the ever-presents that I just wish we just had someone to back him. And I'm not surprised that he started. And then Declan, if you guys recall from last Wednesday, the Man City game, Sojek played. And I thought, he's going to rotate them. He'll play Declan tonight. So I kind of wasn't surprised. But then the rest of the lineup was kind of what you'd expect. But I think, it was I was a bit surprised that Antonio and Benrahma started. But then when it was explained, I went, fair play. Just goes to show, and I know a lot of people say it, but we do need a backup attacking player, don't we?
And like you just said about Cresswell as well, But I think what confused me more than the lineup, because I did make the same sort of it was a criticism, why are we playing Antonio when we got Liverpool at the weekend? So I did make that observation as well. But when we you could see straight away, couldn't you? To be fair, Moyes did change it, but it was a shape. It was a shape that was being exposed. And when you play what appeared like a two-man midfield with Mark Noble, that is going to exploit Noble.
Yeah.
That is going to exploit Noble.
I'm
sorry.
So.
Yeah.
I'm
sorry.
So.
Sorry, John. We've got a bit of a Noble fanboy in the.
You have not. No, you have not got to apologise. But what the Noble bashing that I see is like, it's almost like people are under the illusion that he's demanding he starts, or he's demanding he does this. You know, he knows he shouldn't be playing. He knows his legs are gone. He's a West Ham. You know, he's a professional player, and he knows. He knows the last 2 seasons. I think he said it in an interview in a cup game a couple of years ago. He said, "I shouldn't be here rescuing. I shouldn't be having to be thrown on."
That's
and
right.
you know, he knows he shouldn't be there. And this is the thing. I think people are almost under the impression that Noble's almost like this untouchable species of footballer. He's there purely because we haven't got a squad, and they've been hanging him on for the last couple of seasons, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
I just think the Noble bashing does my head in because I've got a bit of a man crush on him anyway.
Yeah, he was hung out to dry a little bit by the formation. Let's be honest. He didn't want to be playing in that formation. It left him massively exposed. He was chasing shadows. He was chasing shadows all through the game. Only one thing annoyed me about Noble is give the set pieces to Cresswell. Don't you come back to the team?
Yeah, that's it. I was going to say
that.
Yeah.
But do you think he demanded, I'm taking all the corners, Cresswell, even though you had 10 assists?
No,
I don't think he would.
I'm not saying
Where
he
did that
did.
come from?
I'm not saying he did. I'm just saying that by far our best set piece taker this year has been Cresswell, and there was no need for him to have a rest.
Right, not to be nasty or condescending. Do you think that in his mind he thinks it's the only way that he can actually influence a game by taking
Nick,
the
get off, mate. I'm not. I had you all last night. I'm not having this again.
No. That's fair enough. We'll backpedal as well. Onto Soufal. So what are your thoughts on Soufal and Johnson? Still, do you think Johnson should be retaining his place at the weekend?
I think it's evident he will. I think the fact that Soufal started on last night suggests to me that Johnson has earned the right to be playing against Liverpool on Sunday. And what's the stat that's going around? 6 games, six clean sheets with Johnson, I believe. I mean, he's a young lad, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because he was getting criticism. We love criticising our players, don't we?
From Nick.
Not just from Nick, but from a lot of fans kept going. He's not going to be good enough, etc. Let's not forget, people. He's been played out of position. Played at left back, makeshift left back, and I think he's done well. And then when he's been put in his rightful position, shows what he's made of.
I've got to say, I did make a bit of a quick judgment on Johnson, and I was wrong on that one. I was purely from what I'd seen of him playing in that position. What my thoughts was that he was good defensively, but I didn't think he had enough going forward. But then and then immediately his next game he's played in his rightful position.
Do you know what position Johnson started his career in when he was a youth player?
Attacker, wasn't it?
Attacking midfielder, attacking right winger.
Yeah, you know that.
Yeah. So I think he'll be one of those players where eventually, when he gets really accustomed to playing first team football, he'll be up and down that wing. Like the Alexander Arnolds of this world. I think he's got a lot more. There's a lot more to come from him, and I think he keeps his place on Sunday without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
It's also fantastic, isn't it, to see another youngster come through, and this time one that's been there from 7 or 8 years old and worked his way up. And he's obviously such a humble lad as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's when the guy in the crowd asked him for his shirt last week, he's sort of saying, "Me, my shirt." It was brilliant. It's great to see.
Yeah,
and that ability to sort of go down the wing and be able to chop in on your left foot as well, because that's what was it Reed that he was up against Bailey. He was up against Bailey. Bailey showed him on the inside. He was like, "Go on, no, you ain't going on the outside, mate. Go on the inside." And he was like, "Yeah, all right then, I'll go on the inside."
And I'll tell you what, we weren't even expecting that shot to go in. We were all watching, and when it pinged over to him from Declan, and then he took the ball.
Yeah,
half of us were still getting ourselves prepared for the game in the stands. We're like chatting away, and Johnson's got the ball. I was putting it on his left. Okay, we'll carry on talking. Goal.
Amazing goal.
Brilliant.
It really was.
Brilliant.
It really was.
I think we're very judgmental of players now because we always expect wing backs. They have to have the attacking ability, which is the modern way. But but when you think about the amount of modern fullbacks we've got, we question their defensive abilities. So it's, he's nailed, in my opinion, as the stats show, he's nailed the defensive abilities that he needs to have to be a Premier League fullback. Yeah. And as Stel said, he's got the attacking stuff in the locker room. He's probably just waiting to get the confidence in. First and foremost, his job is there to stop goals and stop people dribbling past him, get clean sheets, be part of a solid back four. In time, that will come, I believe, and I think it's started to show in the last couple of games as well. Anyway,
absolutely.
Yeah, no, I agree. On one other one from that game, obviously there's a big debate around Fabianski and Areola. I wasn't overly impressed with Areola yesterday. It's been a couple of games. He was amazing against Man City, wasn't he? He was superhuman almost. Yeah. But I thought he was. I think he should have done better with the first goal, and even the own goal. He got beat at his near post. I know it was
the own goal. That's harsh.
I know it's harsh.
But fluid. Fluid.
I know, but he got beat at his near post, and they do say a goalkeeper should never get beat at their near post, don't they?
Yeah, but it was a bullet own goal header. Reactions of a cat to save that.
Yeah, no.
If you're old enough to remember Ian Dowie's own goal,
what was better? Yeah. Was that better than Dowie's?
I reckon that was better than Dowie's. You reckon Dowie's?
Yeah, I think Dowie's
more comical, wasn't it?
Dowie's is more comical, yeah.
Soucek's was a better finish. If you look at if he was an attacker, you'd say what a header.
Oh, it was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant, just in the wrong neck.
Yeah. but on that, from what you've seen of both keepers, are you sold on Areola still?
I think he's had a shakier start than we all anticipated because we all saw what he was like at Fulham last season. Had their player of the season, even though they went down. He's got a great track record. He's played at Real Madrid. He's played at the French club, etc. I mean, he's got a fantastic track record. He's been in Champions League games and you name it, French squad, etc., etc. And I think I don't know. Maybe that some players, whether they're keepers or whatever position, maybe play better when they're playing more regularly.
Yes. Yeah.
And maybe that's what it is about Areola. But then, having said that, he's actually been playing regularly. Like every player has almost played at least one game a week. And
yeah, true.
I think it's been shakier than we thought. I think that the goal yesterday, the first goal yesterday, was a little bit calamitous. I mean, our defending wasn't good on it. I think Areola, I don't know, he was quite far out of his out of his box, and I think there was a point. It looked like he was going to get it, and then he kind of changed his mind.
Yeah,
and then that put him. And that put him right out of position. And I think he could have put a stronger hand to it, but I think our defending, we started off shaky.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I think I might have noticed a pattern with him, and that is his best game for us was probably a simulation Premier League game, every Premier League game for Fulham last year. Whereas against Man City, he's being blitzed with shots. Yeah. He's on his toes. He's having to stop everything. But then when we're not normally like that, we're defensively resolute, we're solid, and we just basically need the goalkeeper to be a rock and kind of, a part of that back three. And we do need distribution as well and stuff. But I don't know whether there's anything in that, in the sense that because his best game was Man City, wasn't it? And he was being riddled with shots in that game.
No, I agree with you, and it's often the case that a goalkeeper of a relegated team, let's say Rob Green, Fabianski Sam Johnston, Areola, they face more shots, so they get more practice, so they've got more chance of making more saves. And then all of a sudden, if you look at the amount of saves made, it's always the keeper of the relegated team who's top. He gets the most save trophy.
But you're absolutely right.
5 times as many shots.
There is another theory as well, right? After all, playing for all those little clubs like Real Madrid and whatever, this might just be too big a move for him. West Ham.
You could be right. You could be right.
Because Gary, we are massive.
We are massive. We are massive.
I think I think Areola. You say that you didn't have a good game. I think after that goal, I think he had a very decent game because he stopped quite a lot of shots.
He made a couple of. There was one moment with Dawson where Dawson was waiting for him to come out, and he took half out to come out to him. Did you see that bit?
Yeah.
That was a bit of a frustration. But no, look, we're nitpicking. I do think we saw against Man City that he's capable of being world class. But I've just seen other examples as well that have made me, because you need your goalkeeper to be stable. That's the most important thing.
But I've got another theory about keeper. I don't know what's going to happen with him because he's on big wages, and people are saying that we'll be able to buy him for 12 million, which I can't actually believe, because that sounds a bit too cheap. And I just wonder, there's still another keeper who has been relegated. Johnson. And will be is in his final year of his contract. And I've just got a nagging feeling. We've heard that Fabianski is likely to be offered a yet another extension. I think it might be a year too many for him. That's what worries me, because I think I said in my show the other day, you want your players that you've grown to kind of love, and I think we love Fabianski for what he's done for the club. You don't want him leaving on a sour note. When we finish this season, and if we finish on a high, which I think we will, I'd like to sort of applaud Fabianski along with Noble and say thank you for the service, and let them go. Don't drag it on.
Just bow out at the top.
Someone alluded to even Noble maybe extending a year if we get into the Champions League, and it's like, for what reason? Well, but that's for pure sentiment, and
absolutely.
And I think Johnson. I mean, if we do sign Areola, we could get Johnson in for nothing, and that wouldn't be too bad for the future.
Yeah, two keepers for the price of one. That's a good deal. That's a good deal. But yeah, I agree with you there. I don't want to see him struggle for the next season. He's just started to struggle now. He's not the keeper he was. He's still making some good saves. It could be one season too many, couldn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so. Going back to Johnson again. We've got a bit of a problem in the summer with Johnson and Fredericks. Both of their contracts are up. Do we think there's going to be any issue in getting? And what happens there? Because obviously we're not going to be signing both up, are we? Does that mean Fredericks is being released?
Yeah,
ultimately.
It's not an issue because we've got a 2-year option with Johnson, so we'll keep him.
We've got a 2-year option with Johnson. I didn't know that. Right. No. Okay, I didn't know that. I'll be honest.
Unfortunately, Fredericks is going to go, isn't he? Unfortunately, he's been quite unfortunate with injuries and that Fredericks, but
that is the thing with Fredericks, isn't it? Because it's not that he's a bad player, and he kind of demonstrated that early season. And I think we're all surprised when he played the few games that he had. I think we were all expecting him to play further forward or like a wing back or whatever. Moyes put him in as a right back, so clearly he said, it's your opportunity. You should prove to me that you are my second choice right back. And as you just said, mate, it's injuries. Fredericks just suffers from the bad injuries. And if we had him for a whole season with minor injuries, I wonder what sort of player he'd be. Just hasn't had a proper run, has he?
He never gets a proper run. If you compare him and Cresswell, touch wood, he's just Mr. Reliable, Mr. Injury Free.
He needs to be, doesn't he? To be honest,
Fredericks will have 4 or 5 games and he'll be out for a couple of months again. And it's a shame, really, because he hasn't done anything wrong. He's always tried his best, and I don't want to sound condescending, but he's never been somebody who's disliked by the fans. I don't think so.
Yeah, no. And just going back to the obvious man in the match, still Benrahma. Where did
I thought you were going to say Masuaku was the man in the match?
No, God, no. Oh, no. You love Masuaku, didn't you? You're going to be going.
I'm going to be absolutely heartbroken when he goes. Absolutely heartbroken.
He was shit in that first half.
At least you said it and I didn't.
No, but he was though. He was bad. I mean, it weren't. There was no effort. There was nothing from him. It was so frustrating. I mean, the thing is, there is ability there. But how long have we had him for now? 4 years?
5 years.
Since 90. He's done nothing.
Bilic bought him. Bilic, but I did a stat on him in a show because people keep asking me why I'm so critical of him. but I did a stat on him in a show recently, and I said he's made, in all those seasons, he's only made about 115, 16 appearances for us.
Yeah.
He's scored 1 goal and he's had 6 assists. I mean, or 8 assists. I mean, and people will go, well, he's a defender. What do you expect? Well, hang on a minute. Everyone says he's not a very good defender and he's better going forward, but he's not even good going forward. But hey, look, I rant enough about myself.
That is shocking. I mean, that is it. I'll tell you, there is one more stat that I saw today, which makes me feel even more stupid about Benrahma, because look, we can't discount the fact that Benrahma is up and down. He started really good. He went off the boil. But his stats are not bad. He's played 15 games. He's scored 6 goals and he's got 3 assists.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you forget that.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
I was trying to get 2 of my kids who don't like football interested in football, and we went away to West Brom and got absolutely slaughtered, courtesy of Masuaku. Right, Masuaku.
Is that when he called the ball? Is that when he called the ball?
Yeah, I don't know. But I think we were 3 or 4-0 down at half time, and he was absolutely hopeless. I mean,
do you remember that when he caught a ball in a game, didn't he? It was just completely and utterly random.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember other things, but I don't remember that.
Yeah, no. But anyway, in the Europa itself, we're fine, aren't we? I think we're going to be okay. I think obviously Moyes was hoping for a win, and he pushed for a win because he wanted to probably rest players in the last 2 games, because we've got a tough run up to Christmas now, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably what he was thinking. I still think there's a good chance that we could win this group. I think Zagreb are not going to win 2 games.
I think we will. I think Genk are away to Zagreb in the next game, in the next round of games. I think Genk are by far the best team we've played so far.
Yeah.
I'm expecting. First of all, I'm expecting us to go to Vienna and beat Vienna. But secondly, I'm expecting Genk to get some form of result, be it a draw or a win at Zagreb. So I think we'll win it in the next game. And then hopefully that'll give us the last game to just play the kids and enjoy ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we move away from Europe, I was kind of looking through some stats, and for some reason I landed sort of deep down in the Conference League, and I noticed that Harry Kane in the Europa Vauxhall Conference League. And I noticed that Harry Kane's doing well. He's amongst good company. Look at the leading goal scorer chart there. Look. Do you know who these players are? Honestly,
no. I don't even know who the teams are, let alone the players.
Doing well, though, isn't he? He might get the golden boot.
Let's not.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be golden. It won't be a golden boot.
Yeah.
Let's not mock.
This is like that's like one of the one of them cheap computer football games where they ain't got the rights for people's names, and they change you a few letters here and there. You know what I mean?
Pro Evolution Soccer and not FIFA.
Yeah, that's it. One of them where they haven't got the rights for the names.
Before you move away from the Genk game, just one final thing, right?
Go on.
There was one fan who went to the game last night with 10 fingers and came home with 9.
What was that all about? Was that real?
He climbed up the fence and didn't know there was razor wire there, and it chopped his finger clean off. And the guy clearly decided, oh, that's too many fingers, I'll just leave that. And he just left it there. He left it there.
Everyone looked too calm for me. There was no urgency at all. And the steward picked the finger up and just put it on the rail like it was normal. He didn't batter an eyelid. He went. It was almost like he went, oh, another finger every week.
Yeah. Oh, here we go again. Lads, can you please stop throwing your fingers on the pitch?
A couple of good players in that Genk team, though. People like that. Itu looks quite good.
Itu's good. He's good, yeah.
And Pansil. Yeah. Pansil. I liked him. John. Yeah, I liked him. I thought they were.
Pansil could be a backup for Antonio.
Yeah, I think so.
But Itu looked lively in both games. I mean, you went to the first game at home, Gal, and I didn't, but he looks tasty. You'd probably get him for like 15 million, something ridiculous out of the Belgium league.
He's a good player. Yeah. He's a good player. I mean, that pass for the first goal, it was brilliant. He's brilliant.
Yeah.
But I'm not too taken with the lump up front on Uachu. I think he's a bit one dimensional, isn't he? To be honest. Yeah.
Nothing in him at all. Pansil looked a lot better, a lot livelier. really good on the ball. He gave us trouble. He caused us problems.
Yeah. I mean, I do think we kind of played into their hands in that first 20 minutes. But credit to Moyes, he did unfuck the fuck up, didn't he? I think he did that pretty quick. You know,
But you say that, and you look at that team that has actually that lineup more or less has played almost every Europa League game and every cup game, and I just think they just had a bad night. I think Genk took it to us, and I don't think we were kind of. I've got a feeling that we were probably went out there a little bit complacent. And we kind of like we started. We've done this a few times. We did it against Villa at the weekend. We started sloppy, and we've done it a few times, but we've gotten away with it. And there's gonna come a day where we start sloppy and we'll get thumped, and we'll all go, "What the hell happened there?" And last night could have been that. I don't think we would have got thumped.
It should have been really. I mean, they had many good chances there.
They should have been 3-0 up by half time.
Absolutely. But Joey Cole called it because I don't watch much official punditry. But how can you not watch BT Sports with Carlton Cole and Joe Cole? And Joe Cole did call that before the game. He said, "I do worry." He said, because obviously these boys are not that experienced with Europe. He said, "You're coming away to Genk." He said, "They're not a bad team." He said, "Me and Colton called it. We thought they were the best of the three teams that we've played." And he said, "This is not to sound condescending. I don't think he didn't say cup final, but that's what he was saying." He said they're going to be right up for this. He said, so I just hope that West Ham are prepared for it. And they came out and they came out. Yeah, I do love that. I do enjoy the BT Sports coverage.
Yeah,
of our games.
It is good. It is
good. But anyway, moving on to Claret and Booze news. Gary, are you ready? Are you all prepared?
I'm absolutely ready. Yeah. So good evening, everybody. Welcome to Claret and Booze news. It's been a relatively story one. It's been a relatively slow news week for West Ham, if there is such a thing. And whenever this happens, journos and social media are triggered into guessing numbers and making them fit a certain narrative. So I'll give you an example. Nikola Vlasic originally was being touted as a £32 million signing just a few months ago. But when you look at it closer, it was actually 30 million euros, maybe. But then we saw the deal was worth only 27 million pounds, and that included 9 million pounds of add-ons. So the actual transfer fee was closer to 18 million pounds, we think. All of these numbers have been reported in pounds and euros. Many of them fluctuate heavily. In any case, 18 to 20 million upfront seems more reasonable for a player like Vlasic, using a process of elimination. But then let's move on to Declan Rice. Only a few weeks ago, Rice's agents, Rio Ferdinand and Gary Neville, were both linking him with a move to Man United. And at the time, the media rated Dec at 70 to 80 million because they didn't want to break the bank for Man U. So that's one Jadon Sancho or one Harry Maguire. But following his early season magnificent form, we've seen his media value rise from 80 million to 120 million because apparently the Brassic broke Real Madrid are interested. And then someone said West Ham, that's West Ham, are preparing to pay 400k a week to offer to keep him at the club. I mean, in summary, none of these numbers can be trusted. But let's focus on Dec. Given the huge performances we've seen this year, and the fact he is absolutely the best central defensive midfielder in Europe, what would his current market rate be in transfer fee? And given our wage structure, how much could we afford to pay to try and make him stay?
Yeah, before we answer that, can I just say a big thank you to Jared Bowen for the for what he's pointing out there. I mean, that's amazing. That was that promotion. That's fantastic.
Brilliant.
Absolute prat you are.
Regular viewer of the show, Jared Bowen.
Everyone's celebrating a goal. Everyone's celebrating a goal, and Jared is going, "Oi, lads, look at that!"
Claret and Booze. All about Claret and Booze.
Gonna be on it Friday night. So Stel, moving on from that, what's the market rate of Dec, and how much should we be paying him a week to try and make him stay?
Well, I sent Nick a link to the show I did Sorry, lads. I'm trying to. I'm not plugging my.
No.
No,
You can plug away, mate.
Plug away.
I will say, still, it's very unlikely that anyone watching this show has never seen you. But if what we'll do, our 250 subscribers that we've got, but we will put the
That's really good, by the way, lads. I'm telling you, that's really well done. Seriously.
But we'll put the link to, because I know you guys are pushing for the 10K, so we'll put the link to your show in the description as well.
I've got 39 cousins still. From the East End, mate.
What's he worth? Well, I've said the same thing, Gary. I think he's the best central midfielder in Europe right now, and the best central midfielder in Europe has got to be worth at least 130 million, at least. And when people laugh at us, I've got mates, Chelsea mates and Man United mates I play football with, and they look at me and they go, "What you want 100 mil for Declan?" I'm saying we did want 100 mil for Declan. We now want more. Oh, come on, he ain't worth that. And I ask them exactly that question. What about Maguire, Blockhead, or Slabhead as he's called? You paid 80 million for him. Is he the best central defender in the world or in the country? No. Of course he is. He's brilliant. No, he fucking ain't. He's fucking average.
He's looked shit this year, hasn't he?
He's looked shit. And I really do think minimum 120, 130 mil.
Yeah.
As for what players should be played, I've got a real bugbear with that. Because let's get the £400,000
go and get a beer.
window first. Ain't here. No one's going to offer him 400 grand a week, even if he went to Madrid or any other club like that. They might go, "We want you. We'll give you 200, 250 grand a week." A club like Madrid, etc. But let's be realistic, guys. West Ham United are only, we've only had 1.5 good seasons. We haven't all of a sudden entered the supernova league of income earning, etc. And if he got, I think he will be offered to be made, and the rumor is he has already been offered to be made the best paid West Ham player ever. And the best played West Ham player ever up to now has been Hernandez, Chicharito.
Right.
He was on 140 grand a week. So we all it's easy to guess that he's already been offered more than that. But 400 grand a week? No,
it's ridiculous. A lot of cash, isn't it? A lot of cash.
It's a lot of cash. I reckon if we want to keep, the thing is though with Declan, it isn't money, of course, talks, but I don't think it's just about money. I don't think it's for him. It's about winning stuff, and he's already alluded to that. He's already said that. But the good thing about it is he's only 22. He's got even if we make him see out the rest of his contract, until 2024, that means he'll be 25 if he leaves us, which means he's still got plenty of time to go and win all the trophies he wants to win at. And there's only one club he wants to go to, Real Madrid and Barcelona and Man United, etc., can all come in for him and offer money. But in let's be honest, the only club he will want to leave for is Chelsea, and we know that. But I don't think Chelsea will want to pay 150. I don't think actually any team will want to pay 150 million for him. But we have a right to put a price tag on every player, just like every other club has a right to put a price tag on their player.
It's what he's worth. It's what he's worth to us, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, mate, absolutely. And if someone actually turns up and goes, "Fair play, here's 130 million pounds," we've got to fucking think about it very seriously. I don't want it to go, but it
does set us back though. It sets us back massively.
Well. It's how that money's spent though, Nick.
I look at Aston Villa though, and that worries me because when you look on the face of it, how they reinvested the Grealish money. I mean, don't get me wrong. In 6 months' time, it might be money well spent. It might be, but
but we discussed this last week, right? They
being applauded. Aston Villa being applauded for their reinvestment.
Of course they were. By you, I wasn't applauding them, right? I mean, you were impressed with the big names that they were signing. I wasn't so impressed because you were taking someone who was the creative centre of their team, the guy that done all the assists, the guy that scored all the goals, the guy that won all the penalties, and they replaced him with 2 players.
Yeah,
so they didn't reinvest it properly.
3 players.
You could say 3 players.
You know though, Gary, I think Villa have actually got a good squad.
Yeah.
you look at it on paper, and they actually look like they have a really good squad. And when we played them at the weekend, and we saw the lineup, I thought, God, we're gonna, it's gonna be hard. And even when they went down to 10 men, they were giving us a really hard run for our money.
Yeah.
They've. I get what you're saying though, Gary. I mean, Grealish. I don't like Grealish. I don't think he's worth 100 million. Mind you, he'll win enough penalties for City in order to earn that money back. But if Grealish is worth 100 million, Declan is a much better player than Grealish. Okay, they're different because Grealish is a creative attacking midfielder and Declan isn't. But he's a better player in my mind. And
I think he's just as important for a team like West Ham. I think Declan Rice covers a multitude of sins. I think he does. I think he makes everyone around him better. I think he's that good. World-class players do that. They lift the level of players around them, and I do think that Declan Rice does that.
I agree. I agree with that. Yeah,
So I don't want to lose him. I really don't. I mean,
it's going to happen, Nick. It's going to happen. It just depends on. I'm pretty sure that David Moyes is not going to be caught out if we suddenly sell Declan Rice. I'm pretty sure he has a plan and he expects to sell Declan Rice at some point, right? Probably next summer.
Do you not think there's any truth? Do you not think there's any truth in this though? That with this, if this investment is serious, I know what you're saying, Phil, and you may be right, but if this,
we'll talk about that next, right? So don't ruin that. Let's talk. Okay. Yeah. So let's just finish this question. So Stel says 120, 130 million for Deck market value and 170, 180 grand a week, maybe. Put him about Chicharito. What do you reckon, John?
I think I agree with Stel. I think until he got into the England team, a lot of other teams' fans who I know, Chelsea, they'll be like, "What's the fuss all about? What's the fuss all about?" Until you watch that guy. I mean, he came in the team as a boy. He's played maybe 130 games now. He's 22. In my mind, he's irreplaceable, and that's the danger. We shouldn't be in any rush to sell him. And I honestly, maybe I'm being a bit, talking through my heart here rather than my head. I don't think he's in a massive rush to leave.
No.
And I think he'll give us another couple of seasons after this one, purely for the fact that, if you remember, he wasn't fancied at Chelsea. They fancied Mount over him. They released him. He came here. I've said it all last week. And I just think that you can't replace someone like him. So selling him for 130 million next summer,
it does us no good at all.
That ain't going to get us nowhere, and it will set us back. And I think he'll give us another couple of seasons. I really do.
I think if we've got Europe again, especially Champions League, he will stay. I think if we haven't, then I think he'll go.
I would offer him 200 grand a week minimum. That's what I would offer him.
Market value.
I think John's got a point.
Market value 150 million minimum.
Yeah, I think John's got a point though. I think you look at the way Declan's playing at the moment. Yeah, he is absolutely loving being part of this team.
Oh, he is.
And he's also loving being a leader of this team. He's the captain of this team, and you can see it. Not only is he, when we score a goal, does he do the captain's thing and gets all the players to celebrate together? Yeah. Sometimes he forgets that because he goes straight to the fans and he's geeing up the fans. Then he comes back and goes, "Come on, lads, let's all," and if a player wants to leave a club, he wouldn't be doing that. He'd be going, "Yeah, great, well done, yeah," and let's, but there's a passion about him, and I think I read somewhere, I don't know how true it is, that even though he's a Chelsea boy at heart, he's grown to love being at West Ham. He loves being there, and to be made captain. How old was he? Was he 20 when he was first made captain?
He was 20, I think. Yeah, he was 20. Yeah.
And to be given that privilege. Not just because it's West Ham, but for any player that young to be given the privilege of being made captain of their team. Yeah. And he knows that Noble's going to go, and he knows he'll be the captain next season. Yeah. And he talks about when you hear him being interviewed, he doesn't talk about just Declan. He talks about this great squad we've got. Yeah. This bunch of lads together. He knows he's part of that. If he goes to Chelsea, Real Madrid, wherever, he'll be just another player. He would be just another player on a high income. And when he gets told, "You're not playing in this Champions League game, you're not playing in this, league game or whatever," he's going to sit there and go, "I wonder if I would have played every game if I was still at West Ham." And a lot of players with big, futures ahead of them, they end up going to a big team and they disappear. I'm not saying that'll happen to
Jack
Declan.
Rodwell.
Jack
Yeah.
Rodwell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that'll
From,
happen to Declan, you know,
No.
because I think he's good enough to relish, you know, a
Well,
bigger team. But
Stel, do you think that Declan Rice would be as good as he is now if he was playing for Chelsea or Man United
No.
in
Not
the
a
early part of his
chance.
career?
Not
No.
a chance.
Yeah,
You know,
because he wouldn't have been given a chance.
He wouldn't have
No.
been given a chance. So that's what I mean. And he isn't finished developing yet. He's still only 22.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
as good as he is now. It's almost
Yeah.
ridiculous to think that he can get better, but he can get better, and he will get better because he's got the right attitude. So he's in the perfect place to do that, I believe. And
Agreed.
And we'll
Agreed.
both benefit from that. It's right for Rice, and it is right for us because I'll be heartbroken for both, for him as well if he goes there, because I think it's too soon.
But on the counter side of that, we do have to. I think you're absolutely right. Sorry, I can't remember which you lads said it, but I reckon Moyes has already planned for it. Moyes will have a list of players
Yeah.
that he'll say, if Declan goes, these are the top targets I want to go out and get. I think he will already have planned for that, you know, and that's what a good manager does, because there will come a time, people, you know, the only time, like Gary, like you said, if we finish Champions League and if we do well in the Champions League, he might go, well, what's the point of me going anywhere? I might as well see it through.
Yeah.
You know, but there's no guarantee he go to Real Madrid or go to Chelsea that they're going to win the Champions League. You know, no guarantee of that.
Absolutely not.
Obviously, they've got a better chance than we have, but there's no guarantee of it.
Yeah.
So I agree, Nick. Another couple of seasons at West Ham, he'll get even better. He'll be worth £200 million, and then no one will be able to afford him.
That's it. And the thing is, another couple of seasons. Look at what Moyes has done in the time that he's had. So where could we potentially be in 2 seasons? You know, that's the thing. So
Exactly.
Much more massive than we are now.
Much more massive. We
Definitely.
can't let Rice go. We can't.
Universal.
We definitely won't be in the National Conference Europa League.
Right. Right. So Nick, let's move on. We've put that one to bed. Let's move on to news number 2. So some talk on social media this week, mainly generated by Nick following him hearing it on TalkSport, is that Daniel Kretinsky might be West Ham's Roman Abramovich. That's Abramovich, the bloke who bought himself a new image by investing heavily into Chelsea, his plaything. Oligarch to saint. Don't you love him sitting there smiling at a latest piece of silverware? I know I do. Anyway, I'm up here to tell you, no, he is not the new Abramovich, because he has no reputation to launder. He doesn't seem to have a habit of investing in hobby horses. He's a very serious and successful investor. I need to normalise expectations a little bit on this, because the apparent £150 million investment to buy 27% of the club might turn out to be a lot smaller when it actually comes to funds that would be available to spend on players. So it also appears at the moment to be a one-off investment. No one knows whether he's going to, come back later and win a majority share. But I would wager that in the meantime, while he only owns 27%, he ain't going to be handing over money to David Sullivan to go and buy some players for him. So anyway, before I start, I'm just going to break these numbers down for you. We're going to start with the 150 million. The 150 million, and this is based upon the club's going to issue 20% of new shares, and Kretinsky is going to buy 27%. So, and David Gold is going to slim down his share. So on that basis, he hands over 150 million. He will receive 27% of the club. Of that 150 million, 113 million will go to existing shareholders to buy their shares. And other shareholders, existing shareholders, who need to maintain their stake, i.e. David Sullivan, whose stake has now been watered down and needs to bring it up to 51 million again, they would put 56 million in. So that would mean from the original 150 million investment, there would be 92.5 million left over. So building on that, the club owes Sullivan, Gold and Tripp Smith 55 million in loans. So if you round all that up, 150 million suddenly becomes about 40 million. So assuming there's no more debts to pay off, and, I don't know, maybe David Sullivan's Sky subscription or something like that, whatever it is, let's assume that 150 million turns into 40 million. How are we going to spend that 40 million hypothetically in January? John?
Before we move on with that, Gary, your editing has been bang on here, because look where the icon is now. Look, it's covering Sullivan's face up. Look. Do you want it on or off?
Oh.
No, leave it on. Leave it on. Just keep that bloke away from me. Go on, John.
Yeah, well, as we know, just going back to how you started the conversation, Nick does get very hysterical quite quickly, and hear a lot of things on TalkSport.
Yeah.
Only joking.
Yeah.
And from other sources as well.
Yeah, I know. To be honest with you, for me as a fan, the crux of the matter is how much money we got to spend on players. I don't care about what they owe him, Tom, Dick, or Harry. You know what I mean? For me, it's what have we got? Who are we going to buy? Let's buy some strikers. That's it.
Well, the question is, you've got 40 million. Who are you going to buy?
Who am I going to buy?
January.
Fellaini.
No. Lingard first. Lingard first.
Going to buy, Lingard. What are we going to get Lingard for? 12 mil? 10 mil, isn't it? Something peanuts?
15 million max, I would say, but I think that would be too much. But even if it is, I would pay it. I would still pay it just to get him in.
Itu, Lingard, Belotti. There you go.
Yeah. Haaland?
Belotti first.
No. Okay. How about you, Stel?
Well, Gary, I like Gary because he speaks my language. We've had conversations, haven't we, Nick, on Facebook about this, and I think Gary's spot on. Because I didn't realise that there will be. I thought there was speculation about new shares being created, but the issue with that new shares being created is it means it dilutes the value of each share. So I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but you're probably right, Gary, because I don't know. But you're spot on about where does the money go? The money doesn't go. Kretinsky's not going to go. There you go. Here's 150 million pounds. Go and spend 150 million on the transfer market. Kretinsky's going to go. There's 150 million pounds. David Gold's going to say, thank you very much. I'll pocket that for the shares you bought of me. Trip Smith, thank you very much. All the other shareholders, thank you very much. That goes in the shareholders' pockets. It doesn't go into the club. Now what the shareholders may want to do with that money is another matter. Gold may turn around and say, no problem at all. Thank you for the 50 million I've got off you, or whatever it may be worth. I'll give the club back 25 million to invest in players, or he may turn around and go, it's my pension, I'm off, thank you very much indeed. So I think you're absolutely right. Just because he's going to invest in the club, it's that word, investment. He's investing in the club, which means that he'll get a return, just like Trip Smith. Trip Smith's got 10% of his of shares in the club. I can't remember ever hearing Trip Smith putting money in to buy players. I might be wrong, but I don't believe. I'm not sure. So Kretinsky's not on you, Abramovich. I'm sorry to say.
So what about the aid though, Stel? What about the aid that released that statement that sort of he said what he said about Rice? Because in my mind, this type of money isn't peanuts, and this guy isn't a astute businessman. Therefore, if you're investing in a football club, there are better things to invest in, because we're probably as high in terms of value as what we've been for a long time.
Yeah.
Therefore, if you're investing at this point, the only way you're going to make a return on that is if we don't go backwards.
Oh, mate, I don't think we will go backwards. Don't misunderstand. I think so long as this guy doesn't have any skeletons in the cupboard, and he gets found out like some of the other owners of previous football clubs, where all of a sudden they sort of, the minute they buy a football club, there's all this scandal that comes out and they get put in prison and God knows what else. So long as he doesn't have any of that, I think it would be a good thing. So long as he's clean, or as clean as he can be. And for him to come out with statements about we want to keep Declan, that's an asset. Of course, he doesn't want to say we're going to sell Declan. For him, Declan is an asset. So of course, he wants to keep the asset because it keeps the value of the club high. Because our assets, we don't have a stadium of our own. So our £600 million valuation is based on things like players. So he clearly doesn't want players like Declan to go. But he also knows that Declan's worth over £100 million. So there's that balance. I think it'll be down to what will happen with what the whole, he'll have a say in how the club's going to be run. A 27% stake in a club means he'll have a big say, but he will not have
the final say.
Overall, sort of final say, because that will stay with David Sullivan. So I think it would be a good thing. I absolutely do. I think you're absolutely right, Gary. I think it will pay off our debts, or it will certainly pay off a huge chunk of our debts, which means it will become a bit more liquid in being able to invest more money as a club
absolutely.
in transfers.
But
But let's not get it wrong. It won't be him going, I'll dig my hand in my pocket even more. There's another 50 million to go and buy players.
But ultimately, what you're saying is David Sullivan is now in dreamland because he's getting the opportunity to spend someone else's money. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not what I'm saying. No.
He's got ultimate control. So once his deal's signed,
but he always has ultimate control. He always has had ultimate control. But just because Kretinsky's coming in doesn't mean Kretinsky's going to be opening his checkbook and going to David Sullivan.
No.
Pay whatever you want for a footballer. But it'll be easier. But they'll have to agree as a collective, shareholders, what do they want to do moving forward. So Kretinsky will have a big say in transfers. But that doesn't mean he'll be paying for the players himself.
No, it's quite interesting what Nigel. It's quite interesting what Nigel touched on, though, Gary, in our last podcast, where we don't know if it still stands, but the Icelandics put a clause in place whereby any new owners that buy into the club, if you buy into the club for 30 million, you have to invest 30 million into the actual part of the team, which is why we think that David Sullivan and Gold, they paid less than what it was reported that they said. Do we think that that's still the case now? And if that is the case, he's invested more than what's being reported.
Maybe. Who knows? Who knows?
If that's the case, that means he's paying 150 million for the club and another 150 million investment.
Yeah. But the simple thing is, right, if they are diluting shares to 20%, adding 20% share volume, like I suggested, then in order to maintain his 51% stake, David Sullivan's going to have to hand some money over, right? So it's not like the gift that keeps giving David Sullivan. He would have to actually invest and put some money back in to retain his 51%. So I don't think it's that. It's too simplistic, isn't it? It's too simplistic to say David Sullivan is looking for the goose that lays a golden egg. He wants to spend someone else's money. I don't think that's the case, really.
No. Okay.
But it's a nice story to run with, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Right. On to the next one.
Yes, the final story. So, winning is what I do. Usually.
Oh God, he's off again.
Last night, as we were drifting towards victory, until Thomas Souček rose like a salmon to head into his own net, just like Ian Dowie at Stockport, David Moyes was looking to complete his 1,000th game as a club manager with a memorable win. With West Ham as the 6th club he's managed, this took Super Dave to a win ratio of 41.9% across all clubs. Dave joins an elite list of people who have clocked up over 1,000 games in charge, from Alex Ferguson, who's managed 2,155 games with a 58.1% win rate. Arsene Wenger, 1,701 games with 54%. Brian Clough, 46.4 out of 1,453. And finally, he was one of our own, Harry Redknapp, clocked up 40.3% win ratio from 1,391 games. The reason I'm saying this with all these numbers is when you look at some of these numbers, it's very clear that David Moyes, aged only 58, could be at West Ham for a very long time to come, maybe at least another 10 to 12 years. Bearing in mind, Ferguson retired at 71, 72. Roy Hodgson was about, 92 when he retired. And some of the others went on for ages as well. I love what David Moyes has done. Like I assume we all do. He's given us some self-respect. We're no longer good old West Ham being patted on the head and treated like, a bunch of lightweights. People are now taking us seriously. And that's really what most of us, especially me, always wanted. A cup or two would be nice. But having a competitive team is something I've longed for my whole football supporting life, not just the odd decent season here and there. So a few questions for you. When you look at what he's building and what he's achieved in 18 months, how far do you think David Moyes could take us? How much do you love David Moyes? And should he stay forever? And will he get his statue? Serious questions.
Go on, Nick. You go first.
One of you. You're on mute, Nick.
You're on mute, Nick. Amateur.
Sounds better than he ever has.
Sorry. Oh, shots fired. No, look, I'm critical. So you can only imagine, Stel, the tantrum that I had when we was re-employing him. I didn't. I weren't overly enamoured with him the first time around, and then the second time, he's basically made me look. It's a common thing with me. He's made me look a complete and utter fucking muppet. To be honest, he's superb. He really is not. And I feel embarrassed forever doubting him because he's a tremendous manager. I'm not saying he's perfect, but for West Ham he's perfect, and for where we are now, he's perfect. I think what he's done is nothing short of a miracle. I mean, they say Rome wasn't built in a day, but David Moyes wasn't about back then, was he? Otherwise it might have been.
He built it in an hour.
Good line.
But yeah, no, I think he's brilliant. I think he's superb. I don't know how far we can go because I think without more investment, I almost feel like I think we may have gone as far as we can go without.
Hell.
No. What I'm saying is, no, I'm not saying. No, what I'm saying is, I think consistently, I think we can't expect to break into that top four. We've already broken into the top six. I think we will this year. But the next step has got to be breaking into top four. I don't think David Moyes can do that without financial help.
No, I agree. Yeah, of course.
I don't agree.
Go on,
You don't agree?
Go on, Steph.
No, I don't agree. And for the reasons that you see on the pitch week in, week out. Souček, £19 million. Jared Bowen, £19 million. He's gone out and bought players not for big money.
Vlasic, 35 million.
18.
27 million.
Yeah.
But he's gone out and bought players. But that's the most he's probably spent on
12
players.
million.
Well, one mistake's fine. But he's gone out and bought players that, normally to break into the top six, etc., you need 30, 35 million, 40 million pound players to do that, like the Man Cities, etc., etc. David Moyes has got a knack for finding players that aren't going to cost a lot of money. Well, in today's world, aren't going to cost a lot of money. And he's got us into the top six by doing that.
Yeah.
Now, all we're talking about, I mean, how many players would you want coming in? We've talked about two, another left back and a striker, So if we went out and got another two players for, say, a combined total of 40 million, for argument's sake.
It's nothing, is it? Yeah.
It's nothing in today's market. And those two additional players could be the difference from getting into Champions League or finishing top six again. Let's talk about Lingard coming back. Yeah. And look, he'll be 6 months left of his contract. If Man United get 10 million for him, they'll be laughing, considering they could have got 15 to 20 for him at the beginning of this season. So he'll go and do something like that to maintain our form and to be there or thereabouts. Look at what he did at Everton. The reason why they loved him at Everton is because he managed to build a brilliant team or brilliant teams who were consistently finishing in the top six. I think the worst they ever had were like 9th or 10th or something under him. They ain't bad. They ain't bad.
No. And I think what's interesting there, Stel, is that you sort of hit the nail on the head as well. Could he go out and buy big players and get them to do the work that he demands? Because if you think about the players he had at Everton, he never went out and bought big name players or established players. He always ducked and dived is the wrong phrase, but he went for mid-table mediocrity players, and he got the best out of those players because probably in some ways those players have got the most to prove. So they may be a case of where they're more willing to put the effort in and do the tracking back that he demands from his attacking. You know what I mean? And
it's either that or top class players that are damaged goods, like what Lingard was. Yeah, who come in and have got a point to prove.
Something to prove again, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I put it to you, in the 18 months he's been with us, he's gotten rid of nearly £85 million worth of signings for around about 20 odd million pounds. Anderson and Allaire, Anderson and Allaire, a combined total of something like 85 million pounds we paid for them, and he sold one for 20 and the other one for next to a couple of mil or something like that.
We shouldn't have sold Allaire for 20 million without a sell-on clause, though.
Well, I don't think we should have sold Allaire, but that's another story and another show.
Estelle, do you agree with this? Because I think most people do. I think that most people accept that when Allaire came in, He was a good player. He started well, and then he was a victim of circumstance. And I said on one of our other streams, I think that Haller, it was right that he had to go. His time was finished here. But I believe if Moyes bought Haller now, we'd be looking at a different prospect.
You know what? You're
Totally.
bang on. You're
Totally.
bang on. Yeah.
Yeah, by the time Moyes came in and Haller was going towards the end, it was all over. It was all over for Haller. He had to go. But I totally agree with what you just said.
Yeah.
So when it comes to buying big players, I don't think Moyes wants big players in the club.
No.
I think you're right, John. I don't think he's interested in the £40 million striker. I just don't think he is. I think he's interested in getting a striker, like you said, Nick, either damaged goods or a player from he likes the Championship, the Championship, whatever it may be. And I think the only player that I'm surprised he didn't look at in the summer was Armstrong from Blackburn, who's gone to Southampton now. But he ain't pulling up in many trees at Southampton at the moment, is he? But, I thought maybe that would be the kind of player that he might have wanted. And he was available for 20 mil. So no, he is not, Moyes has got an alternative way of getting to where he wants to get to without necessarily having to spend 40-50 million pound on a player. And many people will go, well, we'll never get into the top 4 because of that. I disagree. Look at what we're doing, lads. I mean, I pinch myself every morning, and just before each game and certainly more times after each game and go, was that West Ham? Was that West Ham? The camaraderie, the style of football, and all done in today's terms on a kind of a shoestring budget. I'm
totally with you. I'm totally with you on this, Stel. I think there is no mountain we can't climb in this team. I think we've got a very high quality squad of players built on a shoestring, but the team spirit and the way they all pull together behind the scenes, that is worth another 50%, right?
Yeah.
They're not scared of anybody. They're not intimidated by anybody. Every now and then they'll turn up and have a bit of a ropey start or a bad game or something like that, but largely so consistent and clearly believe in their own abilities, with a great leader in Declan Rice, with all the other players. Do you think for one instant that Kurt Zouma gives a toss who he's playing against? Of course he doesn't. No. He just wants to go out and win.
What's a player, by the way, Kurt Zouma?
What a player.
Yeah. So we're building a set of players like that, and that is exactly the kind of person that you just said, Nick. Someone who's got something to prove. Kurt Zouma at Chelsea came in something to prove.
Yeah.
I don't think he was damaged goods though. I think he could have gone to a multitude of clubs because there was a lot of Chelsea fans that were upset that he left. He was a.
Yeah, but let's be honest. I said it last week, and I apologise for it, but my perception of Zouma from the outside looking in was that he was a bit erratic. He made mistakes. He was a bit of a clown. I didn't put him down as a top quality defender, and I hold my hands up and admit that. Where that came from, I don't know. It's media, whatever you want to say. Maybe he was always on loan here, there, and everywhere. But he's come here, and he's obviously got something to prove because he probably knows that his name's a little bit of a tarnished, I suppose, if you like. And to me, he's unbelievably good at West Ham so far.
He's a colossus. Right? He's a colossus.
And he's the biggest name Moyes has signed, isn't he?
Yeah.
25 million for 25 million for that. I mean, my God, what a bargain!
Yeah, and you sort of look at the transfer strategy when even I was going striker. Striker. What are you doing looking at defenders? What? Now I understand why Moyes went the way he went. To get a defender in first and foremost. He wanted a solid defender in first and foremost because Moyes' mindset. He's the next defender. If you don't have a solid foundation, you can forget what the rest are doing. So his I think he would have. I think if he was forced to spend even more money on Zouma, I think he would have done it. I think he would have gone, fuck it, I'll just all right, 30 mil.
He went to 30 for Tarkowski, didn't he?
Well, exactly. And I don't rate Tarkowski any. I think he's good. I think he's good.
He's no Zouma.
Guess what? Tarkowski's on a free at the end of this season too.
Really?
He's in his last year of his contract.
The Ogbonna replacement. Wow. He's coming home. He's coming home.
But apparently he doesn't like living down south, which is why. Who did he play for? I can't remember who it was he played for further down south. But then he moved back up.
Yeah, but he can bring his whippets and his pigeons with him.
But he's on my understanding is, unless he's extended his contract, he's on a free at the end of the season. Moyes, canny Scott. He'll go and get about 3 players who have ended their contracts have ended. Sam Johnston, Tarkowski, maybe someone else, and he'll go, there you are, lads. That's your lot. Let's carry on. Bring Lingard in for a £5, and off we go.
And I've still got enough change for an iron blue.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, look, if you go back to the Man City game, when you looked at that on paper, that was one of those where if the game was played on paper, we would have got beat 18-0, but it's not, is it? It's really not, and that was, and hopefully the same sort of repeats itself against Liverpool at the weekend, and we'll move on to that. But yeah, I don't know. There's nothing to suggest that you're wrong in what you're saying about David Moyes, about how far he can take us. But I do think he'll need I think he'll need a bit of help. I don't think you can get consistently to the top unless because if he does this, Stelios, because if he can do what you're saying, he's basically the best manager around.
Yeah, and who would have said that 2 years ago?
He's up for manager of the month, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, if he doesn't get manager of the month, I'll be shocked. But look, every club has got to spend money to progress. There's no denying that. But I think it's the realization of that we are not. Look, I'm actually surprised when I look at it. Oh, God.
Anton's here. Look.
God, dear, oh dear. He's jealous. He actually said to me. He actually said earlier, "Are you going on that show, Claret and Booze?" I said, "Yeah, I've been invited on." Oh, right. He looked a little bit upset. I think you're gonna have to give him a cameo appearance.
They're all knocking.
Honestly, if I knew how to contact Anton, I'd have him on as well. So I'd have him on. Would you?
Oh, you don't want your ratings to go right down. How many? You got 250 subscribers. You'll end up getting 50. I mean, you'll be only on 50. There you go. I'm jealous. There you go.
Yeah.
What was I saying? Yeah, every manager, like he's the board's dream, isn't he? Because, and it kind of now, given what he's done, it surprises me that but I think we all know why the board went for Pellegrini and then spent a lot of money. But because he is their dream, he's their ideal manager. They get accused of not wanting to spend money, and they have spent money. They just haven't spent it wisely. But for the board, he is the ideal manager who's going to go, I'll take you to the next level. And they'll go, there's 150 million pounds. And he'll go, I'll give you 100 back and I'll spend the 50 that I've got. But he is that kind of, he is, I don't think he would even know how to spend.
I'll tell you what, that's the thing, and that's the thing that probably is a little bit concerning when you talk. Well, I think we've already established that Kretinsky isn't Abramovich, but if we had that type of owner come in,
they'll get rid of Moyes.
They'd get rid of him.
It could ruin us.
Yeah. They'd get rid of him.
Ruin Moyes' ethos.
Every summer, David Moyes used to drive round to Bill Kenwright's house at Everton. And he used to say, "You got any money, Bill?" And he used to say, "Sorry, mate, I've got nothing." Brilliant. And he used to go off and sign. He used to give him peanuts. He used to give him a £5 or a £10. He used to go and build a squad with it.
There you go.
Absolutely. He can do it. He can do exactly what
Did you just go and practice that accent in the mirror, Gal? Is that why you went off screen?
I must admit, Stel, his accents are getting better. Normally, everything sort of sounds like he's from Yorkshire when he tries to do an accent. Normally. But anyway.
Yeah, go on.
No, go on, mate. No, go on.
I just think it's interesting because when Stelios said about the players that he buys, types of players he buys, when you think about every one of that squad, they've all come from lower leagues. They've got every one of them. None of them are established anywhere at a big club or anything. It's quite interesting, really, isn't it?
Chelsea aren't a big club anymore, are they? Really?
Nah, definitely not.
Jesse Lingard, we're going to bring
this guy. Bring Stell on again.
Yeah.
But Lingard, as you said, is damaged, and
he is,
He will. I think Lingard took a bet, didn't he? Sorry, if we're going to talk about this later, I do apologise, but I think he took a gamble, Lingard, didn't he? I think he thought, I've had a good 6 months at West Ham. Surely Ole would have seen that and given me an opportunity. And I mean, the minute they signed what's his name? Name's gone.
Dave.
Only the biggest player in the world, Ronaldo. The minute they signed Ronaldo, Jesse should have gone and knocked on Ole's door and gone, "Let me go," because there's no point in me being here. And he didn't do it.
He's in exactly the same position as he was 12 months ago now.
Yeah, probably worse.
Completely.
Needs game time to get in the England squad. He's in exactly the same position and he ain't getting it.
But Sancho is going to be the next Lingard. Sancho will be the next Lingard in 5 years, 6 years' time.
We could pick up Sancho for 20 mil in the summer. What do you reckon?
I'd rather have Lingard. I'm not sure. I think from what I've seen of Sancho, he's about half a Bowen, isn't he? From
yeah.
But
I haven't seen anything of him.
No.
In the Man United shirt, anyway. To be honest with you.
But anyway, moving on. John, are you prepared?
For what, mate?
Mock the week.
Oh yeah, of course I am. Welcome to my little skit, Mock the Week. This is
right. Here we go.
First of all, I'd just like to say Happy Halloween belatedly. All you West. Oh, who put that there, Nick? Nick, that's the wrong slide, mate. I hope you all got the treats you deserve. Anyway, talking about treats, it's been a great week for Tottenham, isn't it? Eh? They've given us all a massive treat. I mean, losing to West Ham and Nuno being given the sack. There he is there. That is a image of him standing at the cash point at Bruce Grove, celebrating the fact that his money's gone in from his compensation. Another payoff. Well done, Nuno. Richer than he ever was. After his sacking, the amount of people applying for the Tottenham job went through the roof. As you can see there, the queues were around the block. Eventually, though, after 3 or 4 times of trying, Spurs got their man. Antonio Conte. Back one. Oh, what are you doing, you clown?
Oh, you're too slow. Go on.
Antonio Conte. Tottenham got him after he refused to sign for them 4 months ago. But then again, 35 million for an 18-month contract. Good luck, Spurs.
Right.
You could say that managerially recently, Tottenham have been signing a few has-beens. And as you can see, Mr. Bean is waiting in the wings for his chance for when Conte fouls. Because let's be honest, we all know he will. Even though already after last night's win, there's a DVD out for Tottenham, just so you know.
Right, next one.
Ex-West Ham keeper and Liverpool keeper Adrian there, spotted in London's West End today. Bumped into some ex-teammates, as we can see there, Zarate and Obiang and Justin Bieber in the far right-hand corner. Now, anyone actually know who that is? Still?
No idea. No, I don't know.
Gary?
Not a clue.
I'll do.
Martin Samuelson.
Yeah.
Oh, Samuelson.
Is it?
Oh, yeah.
How much does he look like Bieber? My God.
Does he?
Yeah, Martin Samuelson, absolutely.
I don't know where he is there, somewhere in Germany.
Next one.
This is Aston Villa's set-piece coach, Austin McPhee, no relation of Nanny McPhee. However, he has an amazing resemblance to WWF legend Hulk Hogan, and that may be why some of the challenges made by Villa players last week were bordering on Royal Rumble standards. Nails are on full nails and target on Antonio.
Yeah.
West Ham might bring in the Mountie or someone,
Right, next one.
Next one, Jamie O'Hara, everyone's Billericay legend, Jamie O'Hara. He was quick off the mark. He came out on various channels recently in the week and said that everybody should be scared. Everybody should be worried. Spurs are back. We should all be worried. No, Jamie. The only reason I'm worried is that I ordered Jamie Redknapp off Wish.com and I got you turning up. Remind me never to buy online again, guys.
Right.
Football news. That's the wrong one.
It's
Amateur.
not.
It is.
Well, that one?
That's the one, you donut.
Sorry, go on.
36-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo has saved Ole's job once again with a very late goal against, who is it? Oh, yeah, MLS side Atlanta. I'm not really sure what they're doing in European Champions League, but Man United seem to be struggling against them. Moving on to a new thing, attractive players. The Premier League's most attractive players. Issa Diop has been voted the most attractive Premier League player at the moment.
Who's doing the
Well
vote?
done, Issa.
Who's voting for
What?
that? Who's voting for that?
Nick and Gary. So I mean, look, he doesn't get a lot of game time there in the Premier League, but winning an esteemed award like that, you know, that can only be a good thing for his. You know,
He's clearly winning off the pitch, isn't he? Let's face it.
He's clearly winning. I mean, I would if I was that way.
Yeah.
And talking about attractive footballers, now Nick, there we go.
Yeah.
He ruined it. Absolutely ruined it. Amateur. There he is, the most best-looking Scottish player of all time, David Moyes. As Gary already mentioned, 1,000 games as a manager. He's definitely got better with age. Thank God, some would say. Moving on.
There we go. Well done,
Well done,
John.
John. Well done.
Well done, John.
Good.
He's gone. That's it.
He's had enough. He's had enough.
No, I was just showing Nick what it was like to press the wrong button.
That was good. Well done, mate.
Really good, John.
Well done.
Cheers, guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah. But shall we move on to the Liverpool preview?
Do we have to? All right then. All right then.
Let's go. So, obviously, we face off against Liverpool this weekend. Liverpool are going to be looking to return to winning ways after letting a 2-goal slip against Brighton last Saturday. They did bounce back with a 2-0 win over Atletico Madrid in midweek. But, you know, West Ham are up to 4th following a 3-match win streak. And we haven't tasted defeat since a 2-1 loss to Brentford at the start of October. West Ham are just 2 points behind Liverpool in 2nd place, whilst Man City are 3rd away at Man United. So anything could happen. If we win and Man City don't, we're in 2nd place. It's as simple as that. So when you look at the stats, it's not pretty. It's not pretty, is it? You know, Liverpool won 3-1 on their last trip to West Ham in January with a double from Mohamed Salah, helping the away side to gain all 3 points. Liverpool have won 4 of their last 5 away league games against West Ham. They've drawn 1 and are looking to win 3 in a row at the Hammers for the first time since doing so between 2003 and 2007. Moving on to the next one, we've got Liverpool have scored 19 goals in their first 5 away Premier League games this season, with only 2 sides in the history of the top flight ever scoring more at this stage, and that was Manchester United in 1907, 1908, and Manchester City in 2011, 2012, both on 20. But if you look at the table on the left, you can see after 5 games, so you've got the home table on the left and you've got the away table on the right. After 5 games, you know, we've won 40% win ratio. We've scored 9. We've conceded 7. And if you look at Liverpool's away stats, it's pretty fucking ominous, to be honest. You know, 5 games played, 80% win rate, 19 goals scored, 3 conceded. So, yeah, a little bit scary on paper, I've got to be honest.
None of them against West Ham, though. So, you know.
No, that's it. But since a run of 6 defeats in 7 Premier League games in February and March, Liverpool are unbeaten in their last 20 league games. They've won 14 and they've drawn 6, scoring at least once in all 20 games, 50 goals in total. Liverpool have scored at least 3 goals in each of their last 6 away games, netting 22 goals in total. Moving on to... I
wonder if Moyes is looking at your stats.
I hope not. So, treatment room. So
on the toilet.
I don't know if Vlasic and Yarmolenko have still got their minor knocks after the game, but you know they're pretty irrelevant anyway. They're not going to get any game time. But looking at Liverpool, Harvey Elliott's out, Curtis Jones is out, Milner's out, Joe Gomez, Emily Sandé, and Naby Keita's out. Honestly, I'm not joking. Tell me the difference. What's the difference? there is no difference, right?
Oh, dear.
Oh, no.
Not the Firmino.
But they have got the usual people in. You know, you've got Mane, Jota, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and the real Virgil van Dijk, not the fake one that we've still got to suffer on here. So they're all going to be playing. Not to mention this bloke. For fuck's sake, Salah. You know, it's just depressing. You know, and of course, you know that little
Richard
shit. He always,
isn't it?
he always scores against us. You know, he scored 9 goals in 8 Premier League appearances against West Ham. He could become the 7th player to score 10 plus goals against the Hammers in the competition, making West Ham officially the side against which the most different players have reached double figures. Mohamed Salah has scored in each of Liverpool's first 5 away Premier League games this season. Not that it really fucking matters because they're going to play, but this is how they're likely to line up with the players they've got missing. So should be fine. I'm sure. But yeah. So what are your thoughts after sort of running through those stats? Stel,
I want to
go to you.
I might as well go and shoot myself now, mate. Fucking hell. How fucking depressing was that? Fucking hell.
That's like you've gone and shot everybody.
Fuck me. That's like going, I'll tell you what, West Ham, why don't you give Moyes a ring and go, look, David, do me a favour, just don't bother turning up on Sunday, mate. All right. Have a day off. Because...
The stats, they're there. I didn't make them up.
Fuck me, Nick.
I know.
Honestly, mate. It's like you could have, all right, there's stats, but the whole idea about stats is that you fuck around with them to make them sound good.
Yeah,
you don't make them. Yeah. Well, exactly. Oh, mate, I'm really depressed.
I know. Well, look. I mean, when you if you go back to this one, I'm sure we're going to be fine. You know, they've only scored 19 goals in 5 games away from home.
Do you know what?
So we should.
Do you know what? The records are meant to be broken.
They are.
So look at us. You didn't mention West Ham United being 3rd in away wins on that stat.
No.
Which is pretty bloody impressive for us.
Yeah.
And we're what was it? We're 5th on the home league table there.
Yeah. I think we're 3rd in a calendar year. We are 3rd
in the calendar year,
only behind Chelsea and City, and that's not just that's home and away.
Right, and that says a hell of a lot of where we've come from, the days of being spanked by Man City, beaten by Liverpool. I think Liverpool, I think the scoreline flattered them last year when they won 3-1. Because if I remember rightly, one of those was a break from a corner. Where it was like about 3 touches and then Salah scored, which was a great goal. But I think we played really well, and I think that scoreline flattered them. And if you think about the way we played against Man City, like going out there and going, it's going to be another 4 or 5-0, and then we're like, and then Pep Guardiola coming out and going, they gave us a really hard game in the cup last week, and they were one of the hardest teams to play against in the Premier League last season. We've come a long, long way, and I'm confident about Sunday. I'm not going to say outright I think we're going to win, but I think we'll at least get a point off Liverpool on Sunday. To be really honest with you,
I think we're going to win. I think we're going to win. Yeah. I do, honestly. I do think we're going to win.
I'm confident as well. Records are made to be broken, and they haven't lost in the league this season. Right? They are coming into it fully confident, full of confidence. They are expecting to roll us over. If you remember back, the abiding memory of that game against Liverpool at home last year was we went into that, we were playing really well. Our set pieces were excellent. And I remember, as if it was yesterday, the first corner we played was a short corner.
Yeah.
Right. And everyone sort of had their head in their hands thinking, what the hell? Why are we giving them special treatment? It's like we to start with, the first 20 minutes, half hour of that game, we gave them special treatment. And on Sunday, I don't want to give them special treatment. I want to go
I think we've gone past that stage, because I asked at the beginning of the season, what are we going to be like against the teams like Liverpool and Chelsea and Man Cities, etc. What are we gonna do? Because and now I understand, as you sort of get to understand a manager and his tactics, you understand what he did a year and a half ago, and what he's doing now. A year and a half ago, he came in and went, lads, we're shit and we got to start defending. which is why all we did was defended against the big teams and try and hit them on the break. I never forget the game against, I think it was Liverpool, when it's either Liverpool or Man City, where we only had Antonio up front away, and all we did, we had every other player behind the ball, and we just booted it to Antonio and went, go on, mate, off you go. And then Moyes went, all right, I'll play Anderson almost close by Antonio in the game after. And then all of a sudden we had a bit more of an outlet. But that was 18 months ago. Yeah. And then throughout last season, if you saw how we started playing against certain teams, a bit defensive, there's no doubt Liverpool will have 70% of the ball tomorrow. You know, no doubt about that. But we'll defend resolutely. But what we won't be doing is we won't just have Antonio up front on his own and hoping for the best. We will have a format. We will have a counter-attacking play where the minute we get the ball, we won't just hoof it. The minute we get the ball, we'll use it, and we'll try and use it wisely. And I'm confident. You know, they are a good team. There's no denying it. But let's also not forget, Liverpool aren't the team that they were a year ago, year and a half ago. I think they're good, but I don't think, you know, whereas everyone was expecting Liverpool to go from there to whoosh, you know, they kind of
sort of peaked. They peaked, didn't they?
Yeah.
That's what Chris is saying there. Too much respect last year.
Exactly.
We shouldn't pace contain them and limit damage. You know, I agree. And I think like you highlighted, Gary, with that Brighton game, I think Brighton started off cautious and then they basically threw caution to the wind, said bollocks, and then Liverpool didn't really know what to do.
Yeah. And from when they decided to go they did two things. They decided to go at Liverpool, but they started defending doggedly. And it was it nearly went to 3-0. It was 2-0. Liverpool were 2-0 up.
Gary, can you go and have a word with them with their fireworks? I mean, there's no. Still lives in West London. They haven't got cheap sounding fireworks like that. Go on.
Tesco extra.
Catherine will nail to a tree.
It's probably nailed to me, Shane.
We make our fireworks down here. We have real gunpowder.
They tied Salah up for about the last 60 minutes, 50 minutes of that game. I watched it. Salah wasn't getting an inch of space. So what worries me about that formation, really, when I look at it, is Salah on Cresswell's side. Because a few goals recently have been from Fornals, including the own goal and the Villa goal the other day, came from, you remember that Villa goal where Fornals got rolled? Mm-hmm. He got rolled again last night. He was caught pulling someone's shirt. Fornals has got to be completely on his game if he's going to be playing down that side with Cresswell. He's got to protect Cresswell. Cresswell cannot be left alone with Salah running at him.
But Fornals, he does that defensive work, and that's why Moyes plays in there. But he gets into trouble because he ain't got the pace. He's going up against pacey players on the wing. So every now and then, if your body position ain't 100% right, and he's not in the right place, he's going to get caught out, and he is going to lunge, and he is going to get yellow cards, and we're going to get punished. And I find it hard to criticise Fornals.
If you notice in the Villa game, when we were kind of defending where Declan is, he was playing for the Villa game, and it seemed weird. We couldn't understand it because he was out almost as a central left-sided defender. He was playing deep. Of course, when we were moving forward, he started to move forward back into midfield. But you wait how Declan might play on Sunday. I've got a feeling you're absolutely right about Fornals, but I've got a feeling that Declan will help to fill that gap a bit. Because they'll know the danger, and because it seemed a little bit of an odd one, and I kept wondering what the hell's Declan doing there. And then you kind of understood, you know, they were obviously at Villa, you know, they had Bailey on one side who's meant to be fast, didn't see much of him, but they sort of used their wingers or their wing players, you know, their wide players. They try and use them effectively, and I wonder, in order to combat that against Liverpool on Sunday, you might just see Declan sort of like shifting slightly in order to help cover that area.
I think you will, and the other person as well. And this actually isn't an attack on Benrahma. I think tactically, against Liverpool, I don't think we're going to have any room for fancy players. I don't think that Benrahma is going to be able to do to the Liverpool fullbacks and defenders what he did to the Genk defenders.
No,
I don't think Benrahma will feature on Sunday. Just for this game.
You don't think he'll play?
Who'll play?
I don't think
Who'll play instead of him?
I think you may see Lanzini central because Lanzini knits play and he mucks in as well. I don't think I know he gives you an outlet, Benrahma, but I do think that what I've seen, he didn't do it against Genk, but one of our major criticisms of Benrahma when we have criticised him have been his wastefulness, his use of the ball. Where sometimes when he did it against Villa, he just kept on giving the fucking ball away all the time. And when you're playing Liverpool, you can't do that. You've got
Nick. You should have seen some of the bad passes Declan made against Villa on last weekend as well. He gave the ball away about 3 or 4 times. So I get what you're saying, but I think Lanzini's getting back to his best or better. I don't think Lanzini will make the first team though. But you're forgetting someone who's going to cause them a hell of a lot of problems is Jared. He's going to 100%. He's going to run at them. So what we'd be afraid of against them, they're going to have to be worried about with Bowen. Because he's got pace and he's strong as well. They're going to have to worry about him. So if we can get him on the ball quite a lot of times, you almost don't. What Bowen can do is he can attract players to him, which gives Benrahma the space to do the creative bit. So I get what you're saying, but I think we'll play a different way on Sunday, and rightly so. Not so much to respect them too much. But I think you'll see Declan maybe a bit deeper. I think you'll see maybe Benrahma maybe sitting in a little bit deeper, waiting for the break. And when the ball goes out to Jared, who'll run at them, that will attract players to him and leave Benrahma a little bit more open.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Who am I?
Yeah.
I'm
what was you going to say, John?
I think Stel is right in so much as on a bigger scale.
Bowen the what?
No, not just Bowen. Oh, sorry, Bowen.
Yeah. Oh, John, you've gone.
Oh, he's frozen. Come back,
nice
John.
Way to freeze, though, eh?
John, you froze there, mate. Yeah. Very sticking around. Yeah. You Wally. Go on, mate. Honestly, say your point again because we didn't hear it.
Yeah, no, I know. I logged off there. I don't know what happened. I think Bill's 100% right. As much as we fear them, these teams now are going to fear us a little bit because we're not the walkovers or pushovers we once were.
Yeah.
And I think that bodes well because I think that as much as we're planning for what they've got in attack, might still hit the nail on the head with Bowen as well, and possibly Benrahma sitting deeper and going for it when we do get the opportunity. Klopp ain't a fool. He knows that we're, and Guardiola praised us the other week, and we're not fools anymore. And I think people will take it seriously. And I'm going for us to get a draw, most definitely 2-2.
Yeah,
I'm doing a Nigel Khan, the 2-2 Desmond.
2-2. But I'll tell you what. Let's move on to the lineup predictor here, and this does look a lot like what Anton's lineup predictor.
Nick, please don't show us all our injured players. Please put a positive spin on this one, mate.
No, you know what I want to say, Nick. Basically, those stats that you produced, you've basically written off our whole team, which means we're going to win.
I haven't.
Nick, you can start by putting the check. You start by putting the check furlough in the middle.
I hope Anton's watching this because that looks a million times better.
Listen, I was just going to say that. I hope I don't upset you by putting this up because
not at all, mate. I'm nicking that idea from you.
This is the one thing that we do better than West Ham Network. So don't nick it for God's sake.
Oh,
I'm doing it straight away.
I think. Well, you know what, guys? I think Stell's out of contract at the end of the season. I think he's looking for a move.
A cheeky little kid.
Anyone.
Yeah. But anyway, look, let's go first. Right, Stel. So Areola, Fabianski. Who are you going for in goal?
Yeah, it's Fabianski. Yeah.
Okay. Cresswell. We've only got one left back. So Cresswell, right. The other one, right back. We're going. We'll do a vote. So Johnson, and this is who we think Moyes is going to play, not who you would play.
Johnson.
So you think Johnson? Yeah.
I'll play him, and I think Moyes will pick him. But I'll play him.
Are we just look? I think the other thing to talk about as well. After the experiment on Thursday night, I don't think he's going to fuck around with the shape again, is he? I don't think he will. It's going to be the same. It'll be the same formation. So, is it going to be the standard centre backs as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the team picks itself, doesn't it?
Well,
It does, doesn't it? It does.
Well, until we get to Benrahma, Nick, and you think it'd be different, but
we get to Benrahma. So it's going to be Rice and the Czech Perlo in the middle. The creative.
Keep digging him out. Keep digging him out, Nicholas.
Just keep him away from this area, and we'll be all right when we're defending corners, and we'll be fine.
That's a running joke. Still, a few weeks ago, Nick wrote Souček off.
Fuck.
I know,
honestly, Souček has not been good this year. So what?
No. I'm not having that. Souček hasn't scored as many goals as he did last season. Doesn't mean he's not been as good. He's looked tired in a few games, but he still gives his best. And you cannot say he's been shit.
I haven't said he's shit.
You basically did, Nick. You basically did.
You did the other week. You did.
I've saved all your text messages as well. Yeah.
Right. So
you're kind of alluding to it, though.
Okay. So we're gonna put Arthur on the left wing. Yeah, still.
Oh fuck me! No, absolutely fucking not. Am I allowed to swear? Yeah, it's past 9.
Yeah.
Please get him away, as far away from the pitch as you possibly can.
Right, this is where I think it could change personally, right? Because we're playing Liverpool in this middle area here. I think we could potentially see, if not Lanzini, we may see Krell brought in to give us a solid 3. I don't know. I don't really know. Hey?
He couldn't get in the team last night, Nick.
Look, the big head. Look, the geezer with the big head, right in the middle.
I don't care if he's got a bigger head than you. Just put someone with a bigger head than you in the team.
Look at
He's putting in there to fill out the area because he's got such a big head. Like no one's going to get past him, are they? Look at how big that head is.
I'll tell you what. We'll use him as a prop for later. We'll use Krell as a prop for later. Right. So so Krell's not going to start. That's what we're saying. So who's going in the middle? So think about it. We're playing Liverpool.
Benrahma, Fornals left, Bowen right, Antonio up front. Bosh.
Yeah. That's it. It picks itself.
Yeah.
Okay. Fornals left again.
Yeah.
Okay. Where's Bowen? Have I lost Bowen? No,
he's up top.
Right.
He's busy with Danny Dyer.
Which striker are we gonna? You
should just have a.
I reckon we should. Yeah. I think we should put Dan Chester's on. What do you think?
Nick ain't even got an icon for him, so I don't know what happens. Nick, the next European game when he plays the kids, you got to go searching.
He can't, because I found this out the other day. I said, why ain't we playing Okoflex? And they've got to be registered. I don't think any of the kids have been registered to play in Europe.
No. I think you might be wrong, because I think they can register them just before a day before the game or something, and say, should anyone drop out, here's a list of players. I could be wrong there. I'm sure I read that.
If that's the case, what was all the kerfuffle with Haller not being registered by Ajax when he went there? Do you remember when he signed by Ajax and they missed the registration period to get him to play for the competition?
Yeah, but I don't know. You may be right, but my understanding is you are able to put in under 23s, youth academy players or something like that. I'm wondering if John is just sitting there looking at us startled, or he's actually frozen again. I'm not too sure. I think he has actually frozen again.
He's frozen.
So I think with the under 23 players, I think it's different, but I could be wrong. I'll try and look that up though.
Yeah, it's fine. So what we're going to do, we're going to use Big Ed as a prop, and he's going to be Salah, right? so Salah attacks like a bee from the right. Okay. Now, bearing in mind, who else we're going to use as a prop down here? Who's their right back? Is that Robertson or Trent Alexander-Arnold?
Trent Alexander.
Trent.
Right. So Yarmo is Trent, right? So basically, we've got this threat down this side here. Do we think that Fornals and Cresswell have got what it takes to kind of nullify?
That's why I'm saying Declan. You might find Declan doing a lot more defensive duties out.
That's what you said,
yeah. Which so kind of now the dangerous thing about that, of course, is that you're going to have players like Mane and Emily Sandé if she plays, sort of one-on-ones with our central defenders. That's the danger by drawing players out
Yeah.
onto that left side to try and cover, like putting 3-on-2, so to speak. You know, Creswell, Fornals, and Declan. That draws. It gives them space in the middle. But I think, just as much as what I said, I think we can kind of do the same with them. With Bowen.
I agree, because I've got no concerns on this side. I think Bowen and Johnson, but Bowen's got amazing defensive attributes, and Johnson's a good defender. So I'm not as concerned with Mane. I think centrally, you know, we should be fine. I think you've got. I think they're probably going to be playing Jota up front. So, you know, our centre back should be fine with that. The main concern, I do think, the main concern is going to be this wing. I think it's going to be.
There could be an alternative, Nick, which kind of will be a bit too defensive minded. He may, for the first time this season, go with 5 at the back.
No, he did that yesterday against Genk, and we almost got goosed in 20 minutes.
Yeah, but I don't think it was really 5 at the back, was it?
It was 5 at the back. He played. It was.
I don't think it can be considered 5 at the back if you put in Arthur.
I don't think it. I think it was. I think it was a 4-2-3-1 yesterday. It's just that
from that aspect, we only had 10 on the pitch. If you're going to say that about Arthur, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, there you go. I actually don't think it, because Arthur was playing far too far forward for it to be 5 at the back. I think it was a 4-2-3-1. I just think we had weaknesses in that 4-2-3-1. Yeah. And I think what you could see here Sunday, is you'll have to mess around. Someone will have to drop out, and that could be Benny by playing maybe.
I think it'll be Benrahma that drops out. I'm telling you. I think it
will. If you play 5 at the back, then Benny could possibly drop out, or you could tell Fornals and Johnson that they're playing wing backs.
No,
and
mate, I'm a virgin.
You've got Cressy, Ogbonna, and Zuma as the centre back 3, with Fornals more as a wing back, and then you would have to fill in the midfield with.
I think it's more likely to be, if he plays 3 at the back, he's more likely. I know it's disappointing, but it's more likely that he will switch Johnson to the left and put Soufal on the right.
Good shout. Yeah, which means that Benny would probably drop out of the lineup. For that.
I don't think Johnson's any good on the left, though. I know he can do a job, but
he's solid. He defends. He just doesn't get forward very well. He's not as good as he is on the right.
Or there's Fredericks. Fredericks is back.
100%. Fredericks. You could play Fredericks. I think Fredericks against Mane would be a shout. I think it would be a shout.
Yeah, because of pace. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You can't throw Fredericks back in. He ain't played, and then you're going to throw him against Liverpool. I don't think they'll do that.
No,
but it's an option though, John. If you're going to change the formation, but I think if you do play 5 at the back, it shows them too much respect. What we've already talked about.
I wouldn't play 5 at the back after what Moyes did against Genk. If he plays 5 at the back and we get beat and we get goosed, I'm gonna think we played next weekend.
Am I the only one who thinks that we didn't play 5 at the back yesterday?
We did play 5 at the back at the start of it. It was just really shit.
According to Deck, we played it for 20
minutes. I think it was James. James said it earlier. James Fevers said that we was playing 5 at the back, and I didn't notice that either.
I didn't notice 5 at the back.
Genuinely didn't notice that.
Declan Rice after the game.
We was playing Creswell left of the 3, and you had Arthur left, and you had Soufal as a right winger. I think Moyes was trying to get him to further forward.
Arthur was far too far forward to play a winger.
Yeah, Arthur was like a left winger.
Yeah.
Was he just lost? Was he just lost?
He might have been lost. Lost. I don't know. I think, as you said, though, I think we've listen. No, I think what it is, though, still, I think when you play a wing back system, usually when we would deploy a wing back system in the Premier League, it's because we've shat ourselves against a team like Liverpool, and we want extra defensive resilience. Yeah. I think we played an attacking wing back system where it wasn't a 5 at the back. We played 3 at the back. And we had extra.
So width. More like a 3-5-2 rather than 3-5-1-1.
I think that's what they was doing. Yeah.
Well, maybe. No, I think we just played 4 at the back last night. I just think we didn't play very well.
Honestly, we didn't. No, it converted to that. Honestly,
I'll take your word for it.
But still, both Rice and Moyes after the game said that he played 5 at the back for 20 minutes and then converted to a back 4. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Oh well, I'm.
No, I know they said that, but it wasn't noticeable to me during the game.
As Gary said, Masuaku probably didn't know where he was meant to be playing.
True.
Yeah.
So
By the way, my camera's gone. I don't know why my camera's gone, but it has.
You know what? Do you know what? Every time we go to come on and stream, John's got this laptop, and he has a little attack every time he comes on. He goes through all these different browsers. He uses Chrome. He uses Firefox. Every time he tries to connect, he comes up.
StreamYard only seems to work on Chrome. It doesn't seem to work on anything
I
else.
found this laptop in the back of my cab 3 years ago. You're lucky it's still working, mate. I never, by the way, just so anyone. Oh, you.
You should have seen when he came on last week, Stel. He came on, he'd been trying to connect for like half an hour. He was fuming. He was
dishevelled. He was dishevelled, wasn't he? He was dishevelled.
You wrote off Ben I had a face like thunder because you wrote off Ben Johnson, Nick, yeah?
Right, I'll tell you what we'll do. We're going to move on now. We finish off still with a little Premier League predictor for this weekend's games.
Score predictor first.
Yeah, go on. You lot go. Go on.
I'm going to go 2-1 West Ham.
Oh, still.
I never want us to
thinking.
lose. I never want us to
Look.
draw. A thriller, 3-2 West Ham.
Oh, love it.
Because they're going to score. You know, they're going to score.
Yeah.
And you know Salah's going to get his record, and or whatever that record is about the next player to have scored 10 against us, or whatever the hell Nick depressed us with. So
Nick, what are you going for, Nick?
I'm going 3-1.
3-1. And John's going 2-2, right?
I'm going 2-2. Yeah, definitely 2-2.
All right.
Okay. So look, Stel, you go first. Man United, Man City. That's a bastard.
Man United, Man City. 3-1 Man City.
Oh, we need him to lose though, still, because we got.
I know we need him to lose, but then Man City are not going to lose against Man United.
That's fine. John, Palace versus Wolverhampton Wanderers.
2-1 Palace.
Barry, bastard game. Brentford versus Norwich.
2-0.
Stel, Chelsea versus Burnley.
3-0 Chelsea.
They are literally on fire, aren't they, at the moment?
I wish they were.
Kredinsky might be looking to buy them, eh?
Yeah.
Right. John, Brighton and Newcastle. Brighton versus Newcastle.
Brighton versus Abu Dhabi, yeah? I'm going to say 2-0 Brighton.
Okay.
I think Newcastle are poor, aren't they?
Yeah. Right, this is a tough one. So go on, Gal. Go on. You go. Arsenal versus
really.
Watford.
Arsenal on a roll.
So Watford ain't been playing bad.
No, Watford beat Everton, who were crap, and then they got rolled at the weekend. So I'm going to go 3-0 Arsenal.
Okay. Fair enough. Still, do the right things. Do the right thing. Still.
No, you can't just do it for them reasons.
Do
the right thing. Everton versus Tottenham.
Well, Conte's first game.
Oh, still do the right thing.
Conte's first game. I think they're still going to be in disarray. 2-1 Everton.
I love Still. That's good. I love that. Right, that's good. That's good.
There will be no DVD on Monday now.
Right, John. Leeds versus Leicester.
1-3. Leicester need a bounce back result, and Leeds are terrible, I think.
Right, Gary, you
average out.
We'll just right, okay.
Have we ever gone through any of these predictors to see if any of us were right ever?
No, we were quite close on the first weekend. We've been shit ever since.
Yeah, that first weekend it was.
Look at that. We'll be third.
I do, isn't it?
Magnificent, isn't it? It's beautiful. Beautiful.
I'll tell you what. I know we're only looking forwards and not backwards now, but look at the gap between us and 18th place. Look.
Well, Lance, as one of my mates said, at the moment we're only 20 points from safety. So there you go.
Yeah.
Proper West Ham attitude.
Yeah. Proper West Ham attitude. Yeah.
Oh dear. Okay, but that's
that is it, isn't it? That is a West Ham attitude. We're always still thinking the worst, even though we're doing so well.
Of course we are.
It will be for a while because we're just not used to this, are we? And to be quite honest, I'm still waiting for the wheels to come off. I am. I still am.
Nick, no.
Nick, can I give you, because
it's quite interesting. No, but I'm nervous. I'm damaged. I'm a damaged West Ham fan.
We are, mate. I'm old enough to remember how much damage can cause you as a West Ham fan. You know, so trust me, I know what it's all about. But word of advice, Nick: keep off Twitter and stop following Facebook. You know,
I know.
Because I'll tell you, mate,
and some other channels. I'm a bastard for clickbait. I've got to be honest.
Oh, mate, because I read your stuff, because like I love chatting to you, you know, and we have the odd conversation on Messenger and stuff like that. And then on occasion I read and I go, he's read something somewhere. He's got,
You can suck me in. You can suck me in easy. You can.
And you know, I always say on my shows, don't always believe everything you hear and read, you know, because most of it is absolute bollocks. And it usually is. It usually is. And, you know, and the trouble is, though, the irony of it all is that that's why I came off Twitter. I don't have a Twitter account. We've got the West Ham Network account, and every now and again I go into it, and then I go, oh, I know why I'm not there. You know, and I thought Facebook was, unfortunately, Facebook now seems to be catching up with Twitter, where there's so much dross. You know, and funny, you know, when I do shows, especially in the transfer windows, when I talk about transfers, I'm taking the piss most of the time. You know, the reason why in my some of my shows last about 3 hours when I do transfers, which are like 2-hour bit on transfers, is because I talk about every single player, and it's like, how can you fucking possibly be interested in about 30 players a week? You know, it's just dumb.
But do you know what? Over the last couple of windows, it's got worse, isn't it? It really has. It's got worse, you know. And I must admit, from that side of it, I was a typical impatient fan. I love the transfer window, and I kind of I bit onto any little rumor. But I must admit, the last few windows, I've been nothing like that. I think it might be because we're a little bit stable now. I think the only thing that I think we were all kind of waiting for in that last one was a striker purchase. I think we all wanted to see a striker come in, didn't we? But yeah. Apart from that, I think Moyes is kind of he is settling us down. So, like I say, I'm not saying I think the wheels are going to come off, but as a West Ham fan,
I still expect it to.
You're conditioned to feel like that.
I still feel like that. I do.
But what is the wheels coming off realistically? I mean, I'm not going back to the Genk game. But last night, I could not believe social media after the first 20 minutes. Anyone had thought we'd been relegated from something. People were going crazy. I'm just like,
do you know what happened, John? If we don't make top 6 this season, the wheels are come off.
Yeah. No way.
You know, but that's what people will think. What people will start going on will be, yeah, we haven't been in top 6 because we knew we should have bought a striker and we knew we shouldn't have done this. We knew we shouldn't have signed this player. That's what will happen. Expect it. If we don't actually finish in the top 6, you know, there will be the doom and gloom. I read the stuff sometimes and I'm thinking, are you talking about the same team that I know got relegated? You know, because I'll tell you what,
Grim Reaper.
Doom and gloom is when you get relegated and you think we're never going to come back up again, and then you bring Sam Allardyce in and you think it couldn't get any fucking worse. You know, and that's doom and gloom. But
totally agree. I don't know why people listen. People just need something to moan about. You know, the slightest little, you know, it can be anything. A bad substitution. We could win 3-0, and Moyes makes a substitution at the wrong time, the perceived wrong time, and people would go off on one because they're going to have something to be upset about. Chill out, for fuck's sake.
But no, do you know what? Listen, what I will say equally, that you've got people like that. But then on the other side of the coin, you've got where, so it might even be you, Stel. You might make an observation of something that somebody's done. All of a sudden, you'll have people coming down and you're saying, don't be fucking negative. Don't talk about so-and-so like that. So you've got the flip side of it as well. So you've got some people being...
You're right. Yeah. And it seems that some people are allowed to have opinions and some aren't, you know. And when I know I've been critical. I've been critical of Antonio. I've been critical of Masuaku. I've been critical of certain players. I've been critical of Moyes. But what I try and do, I don't always succeed. But what I try and do is, if I'm critical, I present it. I try to give the facts to demonstrate why there's criticism there. But I think you're right, Nick. I think, you know, some fans can be critical and they can effing blind about the team. But the minute anyone, certainly on social media like this, YouTube channels, etc., the minute you suggest any the minutest bit of negativity, you're not meant to be saying that. You're not meant. Well, we've all got opinions. We're all fans.
Well,
At the end of the day,
they call you haters. Like if you dare criticize Benrahma, for instance, it's like, oh, all the Benrahma haters are out tonight. It's like, no, we're just really commenting on the game. We think he just
exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
You call Souček shit. Everyone gets the ump you. I don't know what's.
Yeah, well, there's criticism and there's delusion, mate. So there you go.
Ben Johnson's got no future. Ben Johnson's got no future in the Premier League.
Yeah, that was it.
Benrahma shit, he's going to be dropped. Souček shit, he's going to be dropped. But this rate, mate, we won't have anyone. You won't have a starting 11 in your team.
Listen. The question is still at the current rate this season. Whoever I do dig out, the very next game they have a welding. Yeah. So who do you want me to pick on next?
The whole fucking team.
Yeah,
I think you need to have a go at
the whole starting 11, Nick.
Yeah. Have a go at Antonio now. Go on.
Have a go. Yeah, Mikel. I can't. I love Mikel.
Oh, right.
But he has played shit the last 3 games, hasn't he?
He has.
So
Nick ain't mentioned it. It's funny that, isn't it? Because he likes Mikel. He ain't mentioned it.
Can't dig him out.
Yeah. I think Antonio, interestingly, is beginning to play like a striker plays. He doesn't have to be in the game for 90 minutes. He only has one.
No, he scores a goal.
No. He's picking his moments, and I'll tell you what, that is what's saving his hamstrings. 100%. He isn't chasing every lost calls. He's not chasing every lost calls.
Are you now writing off his hamstrings? Fucking hell,
I'm so glad I can't see your big face.
Right. His hamstrings are safe because he's no longer eating burgers and stuff like that, apparently, or whatever.
He's a vegan now,
That's right.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, Stel, before we go, we're going to wrap up, but can you do me a favour? Can you give yourself and West Ham Network a plug as well, please, mate?
If you've ever seen the delirious One Football video I ever did, I'm shit at promoting anything. But West Ham Network, we used to be called West Ham Irons United. We joined up with Russ of My Hammers 11, and now the combined effort is called West Ham Network. We've been around for a number of years, as a YouTube channel, and as you mentioned at the beginning of the show, we, nearly hitting 10.
Almost 10,000. Anton's certain you're going to get there, and it's creeping up. It's creeping
not by the end of this year. He reckons by the end of this year. I think we may. But we do shows every week. We do the flagship show on Monday night. Which is the West Ham Weekly.
That's Stel's show. That's Stel on his own, by the way. That's why he calls it the flagship stuff. Yeah.
But we do a number of different shows, and we try and have a bit of banter. But I'll tell you what, lads, this has been refreshing. I've really enjoyed tonight. I like the format. Good bit of banter. And
because we don't know what we're doing, it comes across like that.
John, trust me, mate. There's a lot of people who go on behind the camera who don't know what they're doing, and you guys have done pretty well. So, trust me.
Cheers, Stel. Thank you very much. Appreciate
that. I did say to Nick, want to invite you guys because we do I won't be doing one tonight because the missus will probably cut my throat. But we do every now and again. We do a late on a Friday night, but really late. About 11:30, midnight, and just talk. Most of our shows have got a format, but the late on a Friday night is just come on and have a chat. I'd like to invite you guys over the next couple of weeks if you want to stay up that late.
The only thing I'd say about that, do you remember Gremlins?
Yeah.
Nick's like a gremlin. Do not feed him or talk to him after midnight, mate, because you cannot control him after that.
That's fine. He can get pissed and he can slag off anyone he wants and he can give us all the negative stats. You know what we'll do? We'll give him
They are the stats. It just so happens that they are negative, but they are literally the stats.
It's how you present them. Nick, what we'll do is we'll give you the last half hour slot between something like 1 and 1:30, where everyone's just about to go to bed, and those stats will put everyone to sleep, mate. I'll tell you what, they'll be absolutely ideal.
They'll be having a nightmare. They'll be waking up with sweats.
Seriously, you're all welcome, and thank you for having me on. Much appreciated.
Cheers. Thanks for coming on, Stel. Really appreciate that. Go on, Gal.
Oh, sorry. Can I say one thing about Stel?
Go on.
You are who I would imagine Manuel Lanzini's dad looks if If you said I'm Manuel Lanzini Senior, I'd be like, nice to meet you.
Well, actually, now that you mentioned it,
He's a good-looking man. That's all you
I
got
was
to take.
going to take that as a compliment. He is a good.
He's a compliment. Still, don't worry.
Thank you, John.
Right, so look, thanks again, Stel. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on.
Likewise,
Yeah.
likewise.
And
Can I just say before we go,
go on.
John,
Yeah.
have you seen Harry Maguire? If you were his dad, I'll slab it. I'll go again.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh,
Go on.
So look, as usual, thanks to John and Nick. Nick won't shut up. If you've not done it yet, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, hit the like button, and if you like what we do, please share. Don't forget to leave us a comment or two. Next week we have 2 shows, strangely. It was strange for us. You know, on Thursday, we're going to have Gio from Hammers Chat, and on Friday night, we've got a session with Sam Delaney discussing the win against Liverpool and the upcoming game against Wolves. So until then, thanks for watching. See you next time, and come on, you irons.
Come on, you irons.
Oh, Irons.